a renovated beach and playground. The park has been closed for over a year for all of this work to be done. The state park has a 250-acre lake and over 1,600 acres of land. The official opening of the park will be this coming Friday. I'm Andrea Lopez.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, this is Jeff Mallinson with Georgia Floors Direct, and I want to talk to you about Blue Water Broadcast and how they've helped my business spread the word. As every small business owner, I have to look at my advertising dollars carefully, and Blue Water Broadcast helps me get the most for every dollar I spend. I'm so glad to be a part of Blue Water Broadcasting and what they bring to Montgomery.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Clark.
Welcome into the program. Thank God for another beautiful day. Hopefully it'll be a good, beautiful show. And Montgomery needs a new mayor. Welcome into the program again. And joining us as he does to kick off the show, we'll get to plenty today. A lot of J.D. Vance I want to play from the Turning Point event. Good turnout, good event, and the vice president can very much hold his own. But joining us now we have Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show and editor-in-chief at 1819news.com. Jeff, do you agree that Montgomery needs a new mayor?
I think we've been talking about this for, 5 years now, Joey?
Yeah, but it bears repeating.
Yeah, but you're right. And hey, he dodged the bullet. The Alabama legislature let us down.
I think Speaker Ledbetter should be ashamed of himself. Just be straight up in that you didn't want to do it. Don't stop being so politely dishonest with, we just ran out of time. Give me a break.
I could see I hear the makings of a Joey Clark op-ed for 1819 News.
Perhaps. It's just I don't know. With the mayor, it's like, well, can I just write Montgomery needs a new mayor over and over again? Like,
Well, no, I know we talked about this in the past, but like the whole state's having to foot the bill for Montgomery's police protection because Montgomery can't take care of itself. So the state there has to be strings attached. If you can't take care of your own city, if Jeff Poor in Fairhope, Alabama, and all the people in Mobile, Huntsville we have to share this burden together, which is fine, then there ought to be strings attached, and he should be held to some kind of standard, or his city should be held to a standard, and they should have, a level of police protection there that's acceptable.
here, and it seemed like the Alabama Senate agreed, and I'd imagine a lot of people in the House would agree, yet somehow the bill, what is this we ran out of time nonsense?
It's a garbage excuse because they could have clotured. So the speaker essentially said, right on time, they gavelled out at 5:30 or something. They could have gone till midnight if they needed to. But he said, well, we would have had to have cloture. Well, we don't cloture on the last day typically. They do it all the time. And he's playing fast and loose with the truth here. He was doing this. He made, the horse trading, whatever it is. Just be honest. Don't lie to us that you couldn't have gotten this done if you'd wanted to. And they're essentially lying to it. And it's like we're too stupid to know how this whole process works, but we could figure it out. And we know that this is just somebody somewhere said, we don't want you to pass this. And he said, okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, why. And in my frustration, I've said it's that small town good old boy network mentality of we don't want the state to jump in there. Or it could be, somebody, you're right, in a particular position has the speaker's ear. And it just doesn't make sense.
They said he needed some Democrat votes to sanctify the stupid PSC bill. And they got some Democrat votes for that. And they said, well, it was bipartisan. And then in exchange, hey, I need your help stopping this Montgomery or Class 2 city requirement. I mean, there's just all kinds of things like that they do. I'm not saying that was it. But in that kind of scenario, there's that kind of deal making. And it's all optics. It's not a Republican supermajority. They're scared of their own shadow. A lot of them. It just is what it is. I mean, I sound cynical like a week after session here about it all, but it's the same thing every single year.
And now y'all have a great report out there that's some of the dark money, though not so dark. It's sort of assumed, but it's Steve Raby's big political action committee. He's the registered chairman of North Alabama PAC, and they're funneling a bunch of money into this particular election cycle with out-of-state gambling interest, and it seems like some top names are getting a lot of money.
Well, yeah, they're counting votes. This is the, I guess, the holy grail for Steve Raby is getting gambling done, and they missed it by one vote in the state Senate last time around, 23, I think, or 24, whatever it was. Yeah, it had to be 24. So right now they're just, I think they're really worried. I think they're more so worried about the Senate than the House. There's a PAC, American Conservative Fund. Sounds just like a great all-American right-wing kind of political action committee, but it's DraftKings. These sports betting websites want market share in Alabama. That's exactly what they want. You can like it or dislike it, but they're now playing the political game, and this is what they're trying to accomplish here. They're dumping a bunch of money, and they're spreading it around. I guess the House masters of the university needed to wet their beak, and that's where Raby comes in, but that's sort of what's going on.
Well, and I'm a little surprised to see, maybe I shouldn't be, Alabama Attorney General candidate Katherine Robertson, the top recipient of North Alabama PAC money from early 2025 to date is about 116 grand, but then the second most is Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin with about 73 grand. And that it's interesting how it seems like it's a bipartisan affair. Whoever wants it, can take it.
Well, or just whatever the sausage is how it's made, and there's deals being cut and whatever. I mean, it's not like it's a major scandal. It's just how our system is designed. But you need to be aware of it and understand it to know kind of how public policy is made.
Well, and especially with Trump endorsed Tommy Tuberville and Trump endorsed, maybe it's John Wall wins lieutenant governor, who knows? It seems like, you got new leadership coming in, a new generation of leaders coming in. And yet this, because of the way the system works, probably this next new quadrennium, new legislative session, gambling is going to be the top thing they're going for.
Yeah, and I would predict it immediately. We're not even going to wait until the new year. Once, maybe when the primaries are settled and you know how these races are going to go, it's going to be a lot like the gas tax did, if your listeners remember, 2018 going into 2019. They at least waited till after, I guess Ivy was worried about losing to Walt Maddox because they had just come off of that Doug Jones upset in 17. But as soon as the elections were done and they called all the races on election night in November, that next day it was all about how awesome it's going to be if we could just pass this gas tax. Gas tax, gas tax, gas tax. Then Governor, the session rolls, starts in the next year. She calls a special session within the session. They get around the BIR, and next thing you know, we're paying more gas taxes, and it's a self-perpetuating tax, so it never goes down. It always goes up. And that's the way they're going to do gambling. That's the playbook now.
Yeah, and it also was just such a typical session, too, where there were a few things where I'm like, well, I agree with that. Like, I'm looking here at the story from yesterday done by Craig Munger about Ivy signing this bill, essentially chastening the ability of the Athletic High School Association here in Alabama to really hurt school choice participants. Essentially, they were saying they'd have to sit out of here if you change schools, and this is essentially brings the Alabama High School Athletic Association to heel a little bit.
I mean, that was already the law, and what the legislature likes to do is they like to pass laws with no enforcement mechanism and pat themselves on the back for all the great work they did. And it becomes an unenforceable law, but they realized they had to come in and do something here to codify something that was already in statute and put some backing to it. Because they got a lawsuit right now, the governor and the speaker, and there's an injunction in place that allows these Choose Act participants to go ahead and play without any kind of penalty. But I guess this is just to bolster their case in court. It changes the law. And the Alabama High School Athletic Association just needs to be brought to heel here and do what they're told. But that's not the way they want to be. That's not the way they want to go down.
It looks like the governor also signed a law allowing firing of tenured university faculty, limits faculty senate authority. And this was one of my favorite stories of this cycle, some of that inside. Was it Buffenbarger, the gentleman, the kid up there?
Yes.
We've got some of
the Alabama.
Yeah. And I just love how they, essentially the way in my mind I thought of it, it's like the big bearded man there at 1819 News is going to college camp. Y'all need to behave. Stop going up to kids and behaving like lunatics. We hired you. We knew some of y'all were crazy, but y'all need to mind your P's and Q's. You actually have media in this state that's paying attention to college campuses.
Well, and he's a college student, but I mean, you see this stuff go on before you. I don't know. I mean, Joey, I don't know how aware you were of just the liberal rot within the faculty lounge when you were at Auburn. I was kind of oblivious to it, but when I took time around, I went to college in South Alabama. I got a second degree. I mean, it was hostile. The world changed from the late 90s into the 2000s after Bush won and 9/11. But these guys operate with impunity. They're tenured. They just need. We don't need our tax dollars, our government resources going to this kind of stuff. It contributes to the culture. It's not what people want the public institutions in this state to stand for.
Well, I have to confess something to you. Kind of all the rage these days for me confessing. In college, I did take a lot of the left wing classes because I got really good at the deconstructionist, postmodern crap, essentially just making stuff up and tearing things down. And I'd always get A's. And it's this is awesome. Like, I just make up crap. This is the easiest thing in the world. Wasn't honorable that I did that, but so I ran into plenty of the feminist variety, and you also ran into plenty of the sort of elitist institutionalists like the EU, the European Union can do no wrong on foreign policy types. And,
Right.
yeah, and, you just learn to play the game. And it wasn't until later I kind of look back and go, oh, yeah, there was a lot of Looney Tunes there, especially in Haley Center as I'm taking a poli-sci degree.
Well, hey, you did it the right way then. I mean, you got your grades. I was just oblivious to like sort of some of the activism stuff and Auburn. I'm telling you, man, I had a building science degree, and I remember being there for Clinton's impeachment, and I like my faculty, the teachers I had were pretty right wing, and I always saw that's just stuff you see on TV about liberal college professors, liberal arts. I'm sure there's some liberal professors, and they're probably more than, but it's not that bad. But the second time around, I went to get a journalism degree at South Alabama, and it was just downright like warfare. Trying to be the right winger on campus, and they didn't like that. But just like this directional commuter college professor, like trying to tell me the virtues of like Plato's Republic and why we need to have that over our current system. It was just insanity.
Yeah, but like journalism school in the South is hick lib central, man. Like it's, they find their little oasis in deep red Alabama and they stick to it. It's,
they told me, and I told this story before, and just real quick, but like when I graduated, they told me never to come back. Like essentially, like you're not welcome here anymore. You were a nuisance. You got what I did get a professor. She lost her, or she didn't get tenured because of me. And I was just told to hit the road, Jack, and don't ever bother asking us for anything again.
Now, I got to ask about the Trump and the Pope. It's just my approach on this, Jeff, is like, this is hilarious to me. I'll pray for everybody involved. And JD Vance, I think, addresses it quite well at the Turning Point event I'll play later. But just looking at this whole, I would say, sitcom episode of what Trump did over the weekend, I would wish that like people that are diehard Trump or folks who are like diehard Catholics, everybody calm down and like laugh this off. Like Trump ain't changing, the Pope ain't changing. And honestly, as far as Trump rebukes go, saying you wouldn't be Pope if I wasn't president and I like your brother better. For a second, I thought he was talking about Mayor Stephen Reed. You're weak on crime. I'm like, how is the Vatican got crime? Like, what is this? But what's your take on all this sitcom?
I think it is just Trump doing this Trump thing. I don't know this Pope well enough to really offer an assessment. I think the last Pope was pretty radical, I guess. Yes. But this Pope, I don't know. Like, I don't see him as a threat like the previous Pope, and I don't know Trump. It just depends on which way the wind's blowing that day, I guess. If something presidential, a presidential edict. I mean, just think about this. Prior to Trump, like making a statement like that, it would be the biggest scandal in the world, right? But this is like a news cycle. This is like you and I talking about it. Like, what do you make of this sitcom? Any other circumstance, it would be like wall-to-wall coverage, and I guess it's just where we are. We've been beaten down, or whatever you want to say, just desensitized to it.
And it just added to the sitcom factor that I'm sitting here watching a clip, and it's Trump standing right outside the Oval Office, door open, with a grandma delivering McDonald's DoorDash to him. So as he's about to eat his filet-o-fish, the press pool yells, "Why did you post a picture of yourself looking like Jesus Christ?" "Well, I wasn't. I was a doctor. Don't you love the Red Cross? You're so fake." It's just, I'm like, I can't, I don't know how people take it seriously at this point. I guess it's because he's president and it's the Pope and it should be serious, these authority figures, but man.
I tell you what, though, it's like instructive about the media. Like, it's like wall-to-wall Jesus meme on MS Now and CNN. They haven't even mentioned it on Fox News yet, I don't think. You know?
Right.
And it's the same way, like, it's wall-to-wall Eric Swalwell on Fox News. Like, you really want to understand, like, sort of the media bias, or, like, they're just playing the hits to their audience. This is the time to watch, man.
Absolutely. And honestly, I don't watch cable news anymore, really. Like, I'll see clips, but I get it from the online sewer pipe. And like, I see most of it. And the swallow stuff is, I mean, it's just disgusting. But it's amazing how all of a sudden you get a Republican scalp, too, to resign at the same time. It's just the Democrats really know what they're doing.
Well, it's just a trade. I mean, they this is going to happen with these two Florida congressmen, this congresswoman and this congressman. They're both at their battle stations, and the majorities are so thin, they're not going to allow each side to take out their own, but they will acknowledge, hey, it's time for Tony Gonzalez to go. We'll give you a piece off our chessboard if you give us a piece off your chessboard.
Yeah, and it's just so, it's not shocking, but just the amount of corruption, and in particular with Swalwell, like, think about that guy knows everything he's done in his mind. Like, it's all there, even if he tries to hide it away in a dark place. And he decides, let me run for governor of California. It's like like, what literal demon is possessing you, man? Like, it's insane.
Well, I mean, like, a guy like that got to where he is, and it's not by accident. I just think he's a guy who just pushes the envelope in every, circumstance in his life. Why not run for governor? He before all this kind of hit, he had a real shot at being the next governor of California just because he's so crazily anti-Trump, or at least rhetorically. Maybe he doesn't really mean what he says, but I mean, the guy could have been governor of California. So it's just the world ceases to amaze. But somebody says, we could take this guy out. They do it all along. They could probably.
It's just what a mess across the board. And well, if folks want to check out your work or what you're working on at 1819 News or on your radio show, how can they do so?
It's x.com/Jeff_Poor. Check me out, or you always should be checking out 1819 News, 1819news.com.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Talk again next week.
Thanks again, man.
Again, Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show and editor-in-chief at 1819news.com. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. I do have a lot of J.D. Vance clips because I thought the event Turning Point USA put on with the vice president was great. And I love seeing these, especially up-and-coming presumed front runners like the vice president, or I would love to see Marco Rubio in a long-form forum where they are taking questions in real time from a crowd, from a raucous crowd. Actually, Vance at one point takes on a heckler about the genocide in Palestine. I think handles it quite well. So we'll definitely get into a lot of what J.D. Vance did with Turning Point USA yesterday evening. I believe that was in Georgia somewhere. And of course, the president is, well, still doing his thing. Donald Trump, he ain't changing, so you might as well believe. No, he shouldn't. Like, just keep being yourself, Donald Trump. Just keep being yourself. And I know I always go back to this, but it's the old joke of one guy, two guys are looking at the president. It could be Trump. I think this also applies to Bill Clinton. It applies to any savvy politician who has a good following. Where one guy, those two guys are looking at a president, and one guy says to the other, man, the guy's full of crap. And the other guy says, well, at least he's honest about it. What's the motto here?
In politics, man must learn to rise above principle.
Why we should be praying for everybody involved, and I'm not joking. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out as insect pest season is upon us. Maybe it's not an insect, though. It could be a little squirrel or bird or some other large animal, relatively speaking, gets inside your attic or inside your home in some way. Maybe you got something in the crawl space. Well, they have great wildlife control services to help you out in that regard. Or it could be you're just looking for a trustworthy local company that can do your regular pest control work. It will get signed up for their basic package. It's a monthly subscription. Great way to control costs and very reasonably priced. And on top of that, you can add mosquito protection, kill those mosquitoes. You can actually enjoy your backyard, or termite inspection and protection. So check out Pest Pro Services today. That number, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always learn more at ppsriverregion.com, or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. And they always have plenty of activity on that Facebook page, including great ways they're giving back to the community and stuff you can participate in. Y'all check out Pest Pro Services today. Again, When you want to know, call a pro, and be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. Try to do too many things at once. But as I was talking about the mosquitoes and Pest Pro, I remembered this old classic back in the 2015-2016 campaign where Donald Trump, well, really hated mosquitoes.
The Democrats, there was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me.
Never changed.
I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like those mosquitoes. I never did. Okay, speaking of mosquitoes, hello, Hillary. How are you doing? Insiders from Washington, D.C. They know what has to be done, too, but they'll never do it because they're working for themselves. I see a mosquito. Right now, I don't like mosquitoes too much. Get out of here, you mosquito. Quite a while ago. I want to tell you something in case you didn't know it. Oh, it's a mosquito. I never liked mosquitoes. I like them even less now. But I played golf with John Elway, and I will tell you something you will not be surprised at.
Never change, Mr. President. Never change. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Here in the River region, thousands of hardworking folks will be buying a home, some for the first time. How do you know you are buying the right home? It starts with research. A buyer's agent can help you in your search, providing a list of homes you may not be aware of or know about. At the same time, a meeting with a local lender to find out exactly what you qualify for and how much it will cost at closing and monthly. A list of needs and wants provided to your agent will help them locate properties that match those needs. An example would be bedrooms, baths, school zones, floor plan requests will also help. Start shopping and look at homes and compare and make a list of pluses and minuses for each home. Compare them with your agent to narrow the field. After you work out the contract, appraisals and inspections come next, and then the closing. For more details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883. That's 221-2883.
Hey, y'all, Lewis at the Capitol Oyster Bar. We're located over here on the beautiful Alabama River and jumped right to the news on the river this week. We're excited the Ospreys have moved back in town. That's right. We have a young Osprey couple that's already laying eggs up here. We got a TV camera on it where you can sit here in the restaurant and check it out. That's a really cool thing for children and adults alike. Great show lined up for you this Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. We're back in the music business. Miss Gina Coleman is bringing her band to town. Misty Blues in town. That's right. The Misty Blues crew is coming out of Western Massachusetts down here to the Oyster Bar at 4 o'clock showtime. Check all that out at capsuleoysterbar.com. Go to our Facebook page. There you'll find a menu, all the good eats we got down here. Also, I got an RV park. You can get them down here and stay for a little while or check out the boat rental. We got rent out pontoon boats. All you need is a driver's license, a credit card. We'll have a good time Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock showtime. Bring the whole family with you and we'll have a great time. See you soon.
When it comes to your mortgage, who you work with matters. And this is one decision where local makes all the difference. Don't fall victim to flashy mailers, spam calls, or 1-800-lenders who don't even know your name, much less your neighborhood. Those lenders are often sitting in some faraway state, reading from a script, and chasing volume, not relationships. A local lender understands the market you live in, or should I say that we live in. At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can look at us in the eye and trust us with one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. Local lenders don't disappear after closing day. Our reputation is built right here, one family at a time. So before you pick up the phone and call a stranger, remember us, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon at Alabama Home Mortgage. You deserve guidance from someone who knows the community because they're a part of it. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a man from outer space.
What's up, Earthling?
I see you've landed your spacecraft over there in that field.
That's right, man.
My question is, why have you landed here on our planet?
I came to see David Ernest.
The asset preservationist?
Yeah, man. I wanted to see if he would take a look at my portfolio for me.
Well, before you make the trip over there, call him on his toll-free number, 833-596-7233.
And I understand those last 4 digits spell out the word safe.
That is correct.
Funny thing happened the last time I came to Earth.
What was that?
I went to the Walmart, man.
Yes?
And I accidentally went in the back door.
How did that work out?
Well, they stopped me and very gently told me that I needed to go around front and come in.
And then what did you do?
I said, cool, man. Take me to your greeter.
You flew millions of miles just for that.
Hey, man, I don't write them. I just read them.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street began the day not too far from where it closed yesterday. Financial markets are watching the Mideast as mediators work to extend the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, allowing more time for diplomacy. President Trump predicts another round of U.S.-Iran talks in a few days. Oil prices hover below $100. Benchmark U.S. crude rose $1.03 to $92.31 per barrel. Brent crude picked up $1.23 to $96.02. The Walt Disney Company has begun layoffs expected to lead to 1,000 company-wide job cuts. These layoffs come on the heels of January's consolidation of Disney's marketing division. Global inflation this year will likely hit 4.4%, up from 4.1% last year. That's the prediction of the International Monetary Fund. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by M&M Outdoors. Book your stay today at MNMCampground.com for relaxation at its best. It's easy to find and hard to leave. M&M Outdoors, your home away from home.
A long string of very warm, storm-free May-like days in April rolls on. Today's high temperature once again in the upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll go down near 60 for a low tonight with mostly clear skies. Upper 80s again tomorrow, Thursday, with more sun. Near 90 on Friday would tie a record. And even Saturday's high near 90 would be record territory. There is a small risk of scattered showers and storms in the overnight hours Saturday night into early Sunday. Otherwise, storm-free and dry. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Live local talk, the River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the vice president, why don't we? There is, by the way, a White House briefing taking place with Caroline Leavitt as we speak. She's predicting $3 gas by June the 20th. We'll see. But as folks say, well, the war's about to come to an end soon. The war's about to end. It's going to end soon. Peace talks might be started up again this week. It's going to end soon. Like, I've been hearing that for over a month now. And no, this isn't as long as like Vietnam, but what are we doing here? Seems like you're flying by the seat of your pants, and perhaps that will work out. But stop telling me it's about to end soon, and then you say that again the next week and the week after and the week after. You have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent taking questions there from the White House press briefing room. Bessent really optimistic, he's saying, about getting a new Fed chairman in there and this tax season. Of course, it's National Theft Day or Tax Day. It is the day where you pay these crooks to go accomplish what? And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that are part of this criminal organization that aren't themselves criminals. They're just kind of like part of the whole system. It's like those folks that are like tied in to the gangs because the gangs have threatened them. So it's like, if you can't beat them, join them. Like, I get it. I'm very forgiving. But there's clearly folks, whether it's illegal or legal graft, and the amount of nonsense, use of political pull and privilege to make a crap load of money and continue to fail on the basics for everyday people. Yeah. Happy tax day. Aren't you so glad? You know, it'd be one thing if it's what's always the hypothetical. Well, what about your roads? And what about the poor kids? And the people that need medical care? It's like, yeah, sure. But why is it even on roads, even on poor kids, even on people that need, medicine and stuff? Why is it always so corrupt, all the bureaucracies around that? Why is it so expensive? Why is it that every program, that even the ones that God-fearing Christians go, yeah, we should probably help people out. Now, it would be better if you helped them out, if your church helped them out, instead of having a faceless, nameless bureaucracy that takes a lot of the human purpose out of it. Like, you read the Acts of Apostles, like here in this Easter season, the Acts of the Apostles, and yeah, as they're, selling their property and taking care of one another, there are people today that really think that's communism. There are people today that really think, we're fulfilling how that early church operated by having multi-trillion-dollar bureaucracies disperse funds all over not only this country, but the entire globe. And because we sometimes get it to folks who really need it, that forgives all manner of sins of the folks who are robbing people blind. It's just crazy, the system that we currently have. Crazy. That's said. Oh, there's now Loeffler, the Small Business Administration administrator. Kelly Loeffler. Why is her upper lip so stiff? Reminds me of an AC/DC song. Anyway, let's go to the vice president. This is J.D. Vance, and, one of the first questions he was asked at this big Turning Point USA event was about the Pope.
That the Vatican and the Pope and the President have been in the news lately. So as a Catholic, what does it feel like to be, in the middle of that?
I thought it was going to be an easy question. This is kind of a tough question here.
Nope, no easy ones there.
So here's the thing about this. So first of all, you will sometimes hear people say, well, the Vatican, the church, whether it's the Protestant church, the Catholic church, they should preach the gospel, they should ignore public policy. I actually don't agree with that. I actually think that it's a good thing when Christian leaders, whether they're Catholic or Protestant, part of preaching the gospel is talking about how the gospel applies to the issues of the day. So I've never been one of these people who say that you should never have, Christian leadership not talking about politics, or frankly, political leaders not talking about their Christian faith. But I do think that we have to remember that, each of us has our own role. I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Yeah.
The fundamental way I understand my role is that I'm trying to take the lessons, the moral truths that are rooted in Christianity, and I'm trying to apply them to a whole host of complicated real-world scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Why are they applauding to that? It's a pretty
So
basic
my
thing
job
to do.
is to apply moral truth to try to do the best thing for the American people. That's my job, and that's the President of the United States' job. And of course, he's the person who leads our administration. The Pope's job is to preach the gospel. Okay, and again, I think that sometimes in the context, it doesn't bother me, even when I disagree with him. And I have a lot of respect for the Pope. I like him. I admire him. I've gotten to know him a little bit. It doesn't bother me when he speaks on issues of the day, frankly, even when I disagree with how he's applying a particular principle. So the most obvious example is, it has frustrated me that some of the Catholic clergy have attacked mercilessly the Trump administration on immigration. It is a constant idea that somehow everything that the Trump administration does when it comes to securing our borders is inhumane. And my constant response to that is, how is it humane to allow drug traffickers and sex traffickers to bring little kids across the southern border?
Amen.
How is that humane?
It's a good point. It's a very good point. Kind of agree with that
But
point.
again, I'd almost rather have the conversation. So I kind of like, even when there's disagreement, I like it when the Pope comments on questions of immigration. I like it when the Pope talks about abortion. I like it when the Pope talks about matters of war and peace, because I think that at the very least it invites a conversation. So I think some people, their reaction to this is to say, well, he shouldn't have said that. And look, there are certainly things that the Pope has said in the last few months that I disagree with. Let me just take like one very concrete example, related to this conflict in Iran. So the Pope said something where he said, and I'm gonna try to remember the exact quote, but he said that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword. God is never on the side of those who wield the sword. I'm pretty sure that he said that exact.
We've never blessed a
statement. Now,
conflict or something.
On the one hand, again, I like that the Pope is an advocate for peace. I think that's certainly one of his roles. On the other hand, how can you say that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword? Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated France from the Nazis? Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated Holocaust camps and liberated those innocent people from, those who had survived the Holocaust? I certainly think the answer is yes, and I agree. Jesus Christ does not. I agree. Jesus Christ certainly does not support genocide.
Yeah, somebody yelled from the cheap seats, Jesus Christ doesn't support genocide.
Yelled that out from the dark. He certainly does not. I think that's pretty easy. I think that's a pretty easy principle. Okay, so
asking why are you committing genocide in Gaza? By the way, this is one of the reasons J.D. Vance is effective, especially when he's genuine about it, is what is that word I have trouble saying? Magnanimity? He's magnanimous or something like that? Loftiness of spirit, greatness of soul, enabling one to bear trouble calmly. Display noble generosity. To disdain meanness and pettiness. Now, it is funny saying that with the vice president of Donald Trump, who relishes sometimes the meanness and the pettiness. She's ugly on the outside and the inside. But I think magnanimous is the word that describes a lot of what J.D. Vance is laying down here. That, even when we disagree, I like that they're involved. Like he reaches for a, say, common ground, and it gives him some credibility to then criticize certain things said. But in a second, he'll deal with the guy who yelled about genocide in Gaza. But first, let's go to Clint. Hey, Clint, how you doing?
Good day, young man. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
Hey, you file your taxes?
Yeah, I already paid them.
You already paid them?
Yep. Get it done early.
IRS gets paid before you get paid.
Oh, yeah. No, I used to file an extension to October, but I've gotten in the habit of just getting it done.
I did that before, and I just got tired of it. They lost my tax return, and I gave up filing. I have not filed taxes in 24 years.
My God, and you're announcing that on public airwaves.
Yeah, I did it on 1819 News.
Yeah, it was Scott.
And the IRS sent me a $750 refund check.
And you haven't filed in 24 years.
Yes, sir. I paid my taxes. I just haven't filed.
You might be doing something
right.
Refund. Yeah, you might be doing something right then, Clint. Just don't even worry about it. Don't lie to them, but just don't even worry about
I don't.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm not. But hey, I got a question for you.
Mm.
President Trump has 2 years left on his presidency.
Mm.
Who, in your opinion, would be the front runner?
Right now, I think it's still J.D. Vance. But Rubio's looking pretty bright. And then I don't think Ron DeSantis is going to go away quietly. You might see some of these Republican governors. But right now, I think the top two are J.D. and Marco.
Well, J.D. is my man. So, hey, what's up with Coach Tuberville? I've been seeing some bad news on TV about Tuberville.
Now, why would that be?
He's taking money, doing this.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why we're just learning about that. And it must be a campaign season's on, and they know they're going to lose, so they're going to hit his, try to bring him down some.
I agree with that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know. I asked Coach about the stock trading ban that Josh Hawley did months ago, and Coach was pretty straight up about it, saying, if you ban all this stuff, you're not going to attract good talent. We don't get paid enough. which is not, I'd imagine, what the populist line should be, but I think he has a point that if you're barely making enough money to even live in Washington, D.C., let alone hold 2 residents, around the nation, like, you're going to end up with this sort of system where people's broker, not directly people's broker, trading certain things.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. So I'm pretty smart on politics and dumb on other things, but thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate you, Clint, as always. 272-9228. Now let's go back to the vice president. He's going to answer this heckler here in just a moment.
So here's a guy. Let me just say this. This is a guy. No. First of all, random dude who's shouting. Can I finish my point and then I'll respond to what you just shouted? Is that okay? Okay, great.
Yeah, can we give him 1 second to answer this?
So let me just finish this question on the Pope, and then I want to respond to what this guy said. So, number one, when the Pope says that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword, there is more than a 1,000-year tradition of just war theory.
Yep.
Okay? Now, we can, of course, have disagreements about whether this or that conflict is just, but I think that it's important, in the same way that it's important for the Vice President of the United States to be careful when I talk about matters of public policy, I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology. And I think that one of these issues here is that there has been, again, hey, random dude screaming, I told you I'd respond to your point. I just want to respond to this question first. But I think one of the issues here is that if you're going to opine on matters of theology, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's anchored in the truth. And that's one of the things that I try to do. And it's certainly something I would expect from the clergy, whether they're Catholic or Protestant. Now, to respond to this guy here, he said, I believe he said the administration supports a genocide in Gaza. And here's my response to that. When we came in, the humanitarian situation in Gaza was an absolute catastrophe. You know who's the person who got a peace agreement in Gaza? Donald J. Trump. So if you want to complain about what happened in Gaza, so if you want, sir, to complain about what happened in Gaza, why don't you complain about Joe Biden and the last administration? We're the administration that solved that problem. And by the way, not only was our administration like the administration that solved the problem, but the president, excuse me, sir, right now,
killing children.
Right now, you see more humanitarian aid coming into Gaza than it has any time in the past 5 years, because we have taken that situation seriously. And that's one of the things that I'm proud of about our administration, is whether it's there or Thailand and Cambodia, we have consistently tried as much as we can to solve these problems, not just complain about them like the guy who just ran away angry.
I think well done by the vice president. I wrote about it this week. There are certain folks who are principled, anti-war, always calling for peace, and I really appreciate those types. But sometimes there are these anti-war types, especially in the question of Israel, where underneath all the calls for peace and you're committing a genocide and you're killing children, there's this desire to punish those they accuse of doing that. That it's such a terrible moral evil, then it'll be just for me to do whatever to you. It's almost like this is how perpetual cycles of violence and war go on for generations. Interesting. Anyway, we'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
When your tax refund comes, put it on the floor and walk on it. Revitalize the look and feel of your home with new floors from Prattville Carpet. With faster and better service than the big box stores and luxury vinyl planks starting as low as $4.99 per square foot. You'll enjoy that tax refund turned flooring every single day.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for waterproof carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Dial 285-8117 or visit PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by Invista Advisors. Ostabrico busy today, but happy to talk about Invista Advisors. And of course, he joins us regularly, giving us insights, runs the brokerage desk there at Invista Advisors. And of course, you've been hearing Brant McDonald, the chief financial strategist, the top dog there at Invista, on the airways with Greg Budell. And at Invista, not only can they help you, say, your stock portfolio with your investment and strategy and asset management, but if you're looking for long-term financial planning, wherever you are in life, all aspects of it. Could be you're starting out making a family, just starting up that family. You need life insurance. You need a plan for, future education. You almost have to change it now. Is it a college fund, or is it more like a skilled trade fund, or whatever it is? Or maybe we're just going to create a big nest egg so the kids is going to be all right, whatever happens, education or not. But if you're looking for that sort of long-term financial planning, it doesn't have to be that you're in your 20s. You could start in your 40s, could start in your 50s. It could be you're concerned more about end-of-life issues across the board. It's neither too early nor too late to get in touch with Invista Advisors to get together a financial plan. So you can always learn more at InvistaAdvisors.com. But I really encourage you to call them direct, start the conversation that way at 387-0094. That's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them that Joey Clark, that fella on the radio, sent you. So J.D. Vance is asked about Iran and what's going on at this point. And of course, the Treasury Secretary right now live in the White House briefing room is answering questions on many of these points. Like, when will the economy come back? What about inflation? Will this blockade even actually work or whatnot? Like, where are we at? And honestly, I think on the war, it's a bunch of good questions. Like, where exactly are we at on this? Here's the vice president with TPUSA last night.
But here's where we are on, fundamentally, the president set a policy. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And right now we are negotiating to make sure that very thing happens. And here's, what's interesting about this is what's interesting about this is that we have this ceasefire that's in place. I think it's 6 or 7 days old. Right now, the ceasefire is holding. And what you're seeing is what the president wants to make, he doesn't want to make like a small deal. He wants to make the grand bargain. And what he's basically offering to Iran is very simple. And frankly, it's something that no president has had the ability to offer. He said that if you're willing to act like a normal country, we are willing to treat you economically like a normal country. He doesn't want a small deal. And that's one of the reasons why, one, I'd say in Pakistan, we made a ton of progress. But the reason why the deal is not yet done is because the president, he really wants a deal where Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, Iran is not state sponsoring terrorism, but also the people of Iran can thrive and prosper and join the world economy. And that's the trade that he's offering. He's saying, if you guys commit to not having a nuclear weapon, we are going to make Iran thrive. We're going to make it economically prosperous, and we're going to invite the Iranian people into the world economy in a way they haven't been in my entire life. And that's the kind of Trumpian grand bargain that the president has put on the table. Man, we're going to keep on negotiating and try to make it happen because it would be great for the world. It'd be great for our country. It'd be great for everybody. So I'm going to keep on fighting to make it happen. Yeah.
Again, that's the vice president last night, and the United States has set 2 conditions for renewing talks with Iran and Pakistan. The first is the full and unrestricted reopening of the Strait of Hormuz before the talks begin. The second is agreement by all senior regime officials to any understandings reached in Islamabad. That is according to 2 diplomatic sources familiar with the matter. Makes sense. Open up the daggum Strait of Hormuz, like you agreed to in the first place, and empower whoever you send to Islamabad to negotiate with the vice president team. Empower them to actually make a deal that sticks. Seems like 2 reasonable conditions to me. And this is classic Trump style of We don't want a 5-year deal. We don't want a 10-year deal. What we want is a complete disarmament in terms of nukes and your capability to enrich, which is a big ask, but then we're going to give you a big old carrot. We will help rebuild your country. We want you to be a great civilization. Yeah, I threatened to destroy it, but that's not really what I want. I want everybody to get along and make lots and lots and lots of money. That seems to be the common theme of a lot of Trump's foreign policy deals, whether in East Asia or Europe or South America or the Middle East. So we shall see. We have more of the vice president, as well as a few other odds and ends. Oh, right now they're showcasing the triumphal arc, the Trump arc. Or is it arch? I don't even know. Yeah, the triumphal arc that is going to be on the National Mall. I actually think it looks great. Just being honest. I'm a sucker for that sort of throwback, neoclassical Greco-Roman feel. A little bit of Napoleon there with that gold accents all over that white marble. And a big old gold lion on either side of the entrance. Anyway, y'all stay tuned. More after this.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. As the ceasefire holds, President Trump says the war against Iran may end soon. The president told Fox Business the war in Iran was, quote, very close to over, even though Iran has refused to meet U.S. demands about ending its nuclear weapons program once and for all. He also claimed that China has agreed not to provide weapons to Iran amid reports that Beijing has considered transferring arms. It is tax day 2026 today. Economist Steve Moore says if your refund this year is a little bigger than normal, you can thank President Trump and the Republicans for their One Big Beautiful Bill Act that was passed last year. Abnormally high April heat is baking some parts of the country. It's already shattering record highs. Forecasters say the near-record temperatures could last into the weekend across a wide area, including New York, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. This is SRN News.
You're not just overweight, you're in survival mode. No pill or crash diet's going to fix that. They don't address why your body is storing fat. At PhD Weight Loss, they treat unwanted weight as a symptom, a signal that your metabolism, hormones, and stress response need attention. Fix that, and the weight comes off naturally. Call PhD Weight Loss, mention Mike G, you'll get 2 weeks free, and they'll pay for your food. Call 864-644-1900, 864-644-1900, mention Mike G, or go to myphdweightloss.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a health insurance alternative at half the cost. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Our long string of very warm Storm-free May-like days in April rolls on. Today's high temperature once again in the upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll go down near 60 for a low tonight with mostly clear skies. Upper 80s again tomorrow, Thursday, with more sun. Near 90 on Friday would tie a record. And even Saturday's high near 90 would be record territory. There is a small risk of scattered showers and storms in the overnight hours Saturday night into early Sunday. Otherwise, storm-free and dry. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray to Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Montgomery police have made a second arrest in a 2025 deadly shooting. 21-year-old Jarcavius Smith is charged with capital murder. The shooting took place March 20th in the 700 block of Haverlock Lane, where 23-year-old Shaquille Davis was found dead from a gunshot wound. 21-year-old Lamesian Allen is also charged with capital murder in the case. Governor Kay Ivey signed the Work Zone Safety Act into law Tuesday afternoon. The act establishes a 2-year pilot program using automated camera systems to enforce speed limits on interstate construction zones. Drivers caught going at least 10 miles per hour over the limit in a work zone will receive a traffic citation in the mail. Alabama State University officially introduced Chris Wright as its new men's head basketball coach Tuesday afternoon. Chris Wright has an overall career record of 332 wins and 121 losses with a history of transformational success. In 2021, Wright took over a 1-win Langston University team and led them to a 31-3 record in just his first season. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. And apparently last night when JD Vance was with Turning Point USA, he was supposed to be joined by, of course, Erica Kirk, widow Charlie Kirk, And because of security concerns, she canceled her appearance at that particular event. And of course, the vice president was asked about a lot of the conjecture, conspiracy, rumor, and innuendo, winking and nodding and whatever other way you can come up with everything that's stirred up around Erica Kirk since the awful assassination, murder, slaughter of her husband in front of God and everybody. So here's the vice president taking on this particularly thorny topic.
But so Erica's struggling with this, and of course that's terrible, unspeakable. Most of us cannot even put ourselves in her shoes, while at the same time, she's trying to make sure that Charlie's legacy doesn't die. And in that context, everybody is attacking her over everything, and they're lying about her, and it's one of the most disgraceful things that I've ever seen in public life. And I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my life as a political leader, and I will tell you that the people who tell you, I was there with her, I was holding her hand, my wife was hugging her while we loaded Charlie's body onto Air Force Two and said the Lord's Prayer, the people telling you that Erica wasn't grieving her husband are full of shit. And we need to be honest about that fact.
Full of...
Excuse my language. My wife says I got to work on my language. She's been telling me that for 12 years, and it still hasn't taken. But the thing is, look, when you become a public figure, the natural thing, and I've talked to Erica about this privately, is a ton of crazy people say a ton of things about you that simply aren't true. But the thing that makes it so egregious with Erica is that she's a grieving person who's trying to carry on her husband's legacy. And look, we all do things that are wrong. If you want to, criticize Turning Point USA for not taking this position or having this political disagreement, or maybe it should do this or that, that's all above board. But to say that Erica Kirk wasn't grieving her husband on that day, to say that Erica Kirk was somehow complicit in it, is so preposterous and so disgusting, and it's one of the things that has broken, I think, the American public conversation of the last 6 months. Andrew, we could talk about this for a long time. Charlie's absence, I felt it so many times in so many different ways. There have been so many times where I wanted to call Charlie and say, man, you've got to call this person, or man, you've got to put this event together so we can help this candidate. Or just to bounce ideas off of as a friend. There have been so many ways in which I felt that void, but one of the ways in which I felt that void is that it's like the response to Charlie Kirk dying, the response to Charlie Kirk getting assassinated by a left-wing furry lover is the response should have been, let's go after left-wing violence and terrorism. Let's defund the networks of left-wing violence and terrorism. That's what we've been doing in Washington, D.C., and that's what we've been fighting for every single day. Savannah Hernandez, of course, was assaulted in Minnesota a couple days ago. I talked to Kash Patel on the way down here, and I said, I assume that we're doing something here. And he said, yes, we've had multiple agents on the ground. We've already talked to Savannah. We're going to use the video to try to go after the people who assaulted her and then try to defund the networks that fund those radicals who are going around assaulting activists. That's what we should be doing. And I know that politics is hard, and I know that it's challenging, and I know that things aren't always easy, and we're going to have disagreements even within our coalition. But if you're going after Erica Kirk and not the people who are trying to destroy the United States of America, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. Yeah, amen.
Amen. Yeah, and beyond the political response, and he's right about actually going after folks that fund and sow this mayhem. There's also, I think, a personal reaction you can have to this stuff. And Charlie Kirk's the starkest. His murder is the starkest example. And what's beautiful is thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Americans who don't have big podcasts, who don't even have a public persona at all. Maybe they don't even have social media accounts. They started joining local churches. They started reading their Bible again. And though I couldn't prove it, I would hope, and it does feel like in certain corners, people are really genuinely starting to pray more and more and more, understanding that the true battle is prayer, and it starts there on your knees. And that for all the problems that have existed through time, including with the church itself, again, we're in this Easter season. It is truly a season, and if you read Acts of the Apostles, what you find is, it's not like it was always hunky-dory. Plenty of problems came up, plenty of struggles. You find the community, that early church community, always came together in prayer, and that was their greatest weapon. And yet, though hundreds of thousands, I'd like to say millions, I can't prove this. Just not good with numbers. There are still others that have gone down the rabbit hole of this, that, or the other perspective. And it didn't start with the murder of Charlie Kirk. It's been around for a long time, especially as rightfully people don't trust the corporate media, don't trust the old power centers. You shouldn't trust them at all. Problem is people stop trusting, and then they turn to anybody who's got an interesting theory or idea. And a great way to judge these things is, what is the effect? Maybe you don't understand what's actually causing a particular person or persona even, and maybe it's not even how the person actually is in real life. A particular mouthpiece. You can judge what's causing them to do what they're doing by the effect. The cause is in the effect. And so if the effect is to scatter, to accuse, to confuse, to sow further distrust and doubt, you have to wonder what's causing that. And it happens with a lot of folks. Some folks don't even mean it. They mean well. They're hurt. They're wounded. They've learned not to trust people or trust the world. But still, if the effect is to scatter, to accuse, to sow discord and disharmony in the community, and that's, take your pick. I'm not even singling anybody out. Take your pick in this political world we live in, on the right or the left. You have to wonder where that's coming from. And I would humbly suggest don't listen to those sorts of voices, even if they mean well. Now, not all of them mean well. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're cooperating very much with that voice of the accuser and the scatterer. That said, I thought the vice president, the president ain't going to change. The president's been having a heck of a week saying that China loves I'm opening up the Strait of Hormuz. No, China hates the blockade, but it's classic President Donald John Trump. China loves what I'm doing. They just love it. But they said the other day, just yesterday, they hate it. Trust me, they love what I'm doing. You know what? I've kind of learned to let the man cook. Let him do what he does. But speaking of the spiritual aspect of things, J.D. Vance was asked about his broken home, like broken childhood. And in particular, how it is a common theme out there with folks that want to sell you a government program to right the wrongs that have, fallen upon you. That because you don't have certain privileges, because you don't have a family with generational wealth, because you didn't get that college education, or maybe you were born into a world where you always had health problems, or you're born blind with some sort of disability. There's all sorts of things that can happen. Maybe your parents were awful. Maybe they were drug addicted, alcoholics. You can go down the list of what are all the awful things that can hold somebody back when they're born into this world? And so Vance is essentially asked about this, given his background of clearly a broken home. And yet you see where he is today. By the way, it doesn't mean everybody that really gives it a good try, maximum effort, is going to end up vice president or going to Yale or, palling around with Palantir and venture capitalists. But it does suggest that you can create your own story. if you listen to the right voices. So here's the vice president being asked about, well, how did you succeed? What about this idea that so many people are held back because they just don't have the opportunities given to them?
As somebody whose parents adopted 3 children from the foster care system and coming from a broken household yourself, we have seen different sides of a somewhat similar narrative. How would you respond to somebody who says that the only way to succeed in this country is to come from a generationally wealthy family?
That's a good question. Wow, I didn't expect that one. Well, first of all, it's just not true. And I think that one of the things that, a very powerful thing that somebody told me is that, disadvantage and unfairness, it is true. Not everybody started at the exact same place. Some people were dealt a much worse hand than others. But what somebody, again, this person gave me a very good piece of advice and said, no matter what hand you were dealt, you have the responsibility to play it as well as you can. And I think that for me at least, there was something empowering for me about recognizing that, yeah, my life wasn't as easy as most other kids. Like, I wasn't born with money. I wasn't born with parents who had connections, but I still had a responsibility to God. I had a responsibility to myself to play that hand as well as I possibly could.
Amen. You do have a responsibility. And I like that he said you have a responsibility to God. Don't get me wrong. Like, for many years, I listened to the voices that were about sowing distrust and learning not to trust the world and cloistering yourself in. But there's a way where you can break out of that. Now, Vance gets into some of the literal demons up there in Washington, D.C. They're called congressmen, and some are senators. But just the corruption of the system, as we're seeing with, like, the Republicans and Democrats right now with Swalwell and Gonzalez and all these others. Like, they're resigning like crazy. Let the dominoes fall. It makes you wonder how deep all this goes. But here's the vice president addressing just the swamp's corruption that persists to this day.
Yeah, so great question. And I remember during the State of the Union address, when the president talked about banning members of Congress from trading stocks, I looked over at Nancy Pelosi and she was sitting in her chair like...
Wow, arms crossed.
And if you watch the State of the Union, I start laughing hysterically. It's because I looked over and saw the look on Nancy Pelosi's face. I think people don't have any idea how bad the corruption is in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, I love the idea of term limits for Congress. You know what I love more? I love the idea of term limits for bureaucrats. Nobody in Washington, D.C. should be able to sit in a chair for 30 years, do your public service, and go back home and do something productive.
I like that quite a bit. Now, will that ever happen with the current crop up there? Well, you need a wave election to get that down. By the way, what are, like, Democrats up to in, like, the House? Because they want to win back the House especially. Well, House Democrats yesterday, on Tuesday, unveiled a bill that's probably a long shot in a possible attempt to remove President Trump from office using the 25th Amendment. The 10-page legislation, introduced by House Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Jamie Raskin, would create a 17-member commission to assess whether the amendment could be used to boot Trump from the White House. The panel would be composed of several physicians and former high-ranking executive officials appointed by congressional leaders from both parties. The commission shall carry out a medical examination of the president to determine whether the president is mentally or physically unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office, the bill states. Democratic and Republican leaders of each chamber of Congress would select 4 physicians and 4 psychiatrists to serve on the commission. Yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. The 16 appointed members would then vote to select an additional member to chair the body. Many House and Senate Democrats have called for Trump to be removed from office or impeached after he wrote that a whole civilization will die tonight in a social media post regarding the war in Iran. Raskin cited Trump's increasingly volatile, incoherent, and alarming public statements. We have a solemn duty to play our defined role under the 25th Amendment by setting up this body to act alongside the vice president and the cabinet, Raskin said in a statement. Public trust in Donald Trump's ability to meet the duties of his office has dropped to unprecedented lows as he threatens to destroy entire civilizations, unleashes chaos in the Middle East, while violating congressional war powers, aggressively insults the Pope of the Catholic Church, and sends out artistic renderings online likening himself to Jesus Christ. Honestly, it kind of is the same Trump we've known all these years, guys. All that, what he just listed. Sounds like the same guy ran. And in fact, he's mellowed since 2015, 2016. He's mellowed. Almost being killed in front of God and everybody might do that to a man. Of course, the legislation has 50 Democratic co-sponsors. The White House pushed back on Raskin's claims, asserting that Trump's cognitive ability has not deteriorated, while also criticizing Democrats over former President Joe Biden's mental lapses during his time in office. Yeah, this was the obvious riposte. Lightweight Jamie Raskin is what they say, is a stupid person's idea of a smart person. White House spokesman Davis Engel told Fox News Digital, President Trump's sharpness, unmatched energy, and historic accessibility stand in stark contrast to what we saw during the last administration, when Democrats like Raskin intentionally covered up Joe Biden's serious mental and physical decline from the American people. Trump defended his statement, saying he did not follow through with his threats because Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. He noted that his remarks brought Iran to the table with the exception of one thing, which I believe they're going to give up on. Remember, what do they say to us? For years, I've had to listen to them say, death to America, right? Trump said with Maria Bartiromo. They say death to America, death to Israel, America is a Satan, we will destroy America, death to America. Now, does anybody ever complain to you when they say that? I think that's a big step worse, death to America. Yeah, now, Trump, whether you love him or hate him, seems to be very much the same guy. If anything, he's mellowed. Let's go to the phones, talk to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Professor, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Doing good. Taking a break from making money so I can pay the government.
Yeah, good luck.
So what I'm hearing here is that the Democrats are mad because our president talked mean to the bad people.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that sums it all for me. But one other question: since Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez are no longer in office, can the taxpayers get a refund on the amount of money that was spent out of the Congressional Slush Fund to cover up sexual misconduct?
It'd be nice, yeah, like a sex slush fund dividend.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're not having to dip into that anymore since they've resigned. So can we get that money back?
And do we really believe that those are the only two, or are these just the latest scapegoats to get everybody's attention off the rest of that wretched body?
It's not those two, but I mean, come on, we got these two dead to rights, so we should at least be able to get this money back.
Right, now that's a great incentive. Like you'll have all sorts of instead of like the Charlie Kirk thing, you have all these online sleuths looking for a payday if they figure out who's been shipping whom.
And that list would be long and prosperous.
Dude, what? You're a professor?
No, I just know a lot of things, but I don't drink.
There you go. Well, it is a superpower in some corners.
All right, thanks, Joey. Enjoying the show.
Appreciate it, man. 272-9228. Again, if you want to get in on the conversation for you Verizon cell phone users, Verizon customers, 334-272-9228. Now, quick change up here. We got to hear from Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz here. I'm going to give a little insight of what I've learned about the president while flying on Air Force One. He really loves his Diet Coke, folks. Dr. Oz out. But actually, it was Dr. Oz sitting down with Don Jr., and he shares this little Trumpism, a Trump truism, if you will. I mean, and this sounds like something your boomer uncle or father would say, and I'm not even saying that as an insult. I'm saying sometimes the boomers say things that are so boomer, you're like, man, that's so endearing and adorable and hilarious, and he's still ticking, so maybe he's right about it. But here's what Dr. Oz is talking about.
Office. He'll pepper. Bobby and I usually go to the meetings together. So he'll first start off with candy bars, that little candy jar he'll call it. He'll hit the red button. Yeah. And then comes the diet soda pops, which is your dad argues that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. It's poured on grass, so therefore it must kill cancer cells inside the body. So he'll try. Please, I'm having to argue this right now. We were on Air Force One the other day, and I walk in there because he wants to talk about something, and he's got an orange soft drink on his desk
Fanta. He drinks Fanta.
That's what I didn't want to say the brand name on the podcast. He's got Fanta on the desk, and I say, "Are you kidding me?" So he starts to like sheepishly grin. He goes, "This stuff's good for me. It kills cancer cells." And then he tells me it's fresh squeezed. So how bad could it be for you?
Okay, but then
fresh squeezed Fanta. Now I think the president's in his right mind. He's just uncontrollable in so many ways. And this is who the people voted for. They voted for the guy who's honestly full of it. And also seems to have this sixth sense, this foresight, or just this willpower to manifest things in this world, even when you think, oh, he's talking nuts, and then he does it. I think we've almost become numb to the fact that nobody thought he was going to be president. No one. 10 years ago. Who predicted that? Very few. Wait, what? Ann Coulter? Like, there are a couple. Like, may rest in peace, Scott Adams called it pretty early. But most folks are like, no way. And then you remember that every month it's like, well, this is going to be the downfall of Donald Trump during the campaign. And then when he first becomes president, and they immediately get the Mueller investigation and the Russia thing. And yet, here we are, 10 years later. So it's like we never learn. Just enjoy the show, is my advice to the average bear. Now, some of y'all are wanting to be part of the movers and shakers, and you're really playing the game, and like you want power and prestige and notoriety and all these other things. Like, God love you. Good luck with that. But for most of us, we're just watching the show, man, and we hope for the best. We pray for the best. And, so Trump is being asked by Maria Bartiromo about the midterms. And for me, this all hinges on what happens with this war, and then what I've been saying since last year, it's the economy, stupid. Are wages going up? Median wages going up? Real wages going up? Is all this investment actually translating into better job opportunities? Actually translating into growth that not only helps big tech, but actually helps Main Street folks here in America? Are the tariff systems actually allowing for more new investment in manufacturing? Or is he taking care of the farmers? And then the perception side of these things. Do consumers feel confident that we've whooped the inflation, yada, yada, yada? But right now, the war is a huge distraction. And in particular, the war is what keeps gas prices at astronomical levels. So that's got to hurt. So here's the president being asked about this crucial issue. What are you going to do? Or how's the midterms look for you?
Expect the Republicans to lose seats in the House. And what does that mean for your agenda?
Well, I just left with Mike Johnson and some great people, some great congressmen and women, and in the Oval Office. I think we're going to do good. Now, with that being said, when somebody gets elected president, that party always loses the midterms. I don't know why. Nobody could explain it. I asked people that are deep into the psychological world. I said, why is it that a voter votes for the opposite party? It's even when you have a good president. I think I had the greatest year, the greatest opening year I've read. The greatest, look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming. But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8. We have the biggest tax cuts ever. We have the biggest regulation cuts ever. The greatest economy ever, pretty much including the fact that I took a detour into Iran in order to stop something that could have destroyed the world, right? But even when you have a great president, they tend to lose the midterms. It doesn't make sense to me, so we're going to try turning it around. In 50 years, I guess the president, the party with the president, has won twice. Why that happens, I don't know. We are really working hard to turn that around. We've had the greatest year in the history of the presidency, first year, and we should be giving credit. Look at the border. So we had a border that was an open civ. You covered it better than anybody.
So is that the message to voters going into the midterm elections? The border.
Yeah, I should get credit. I think we should. Well, I think we have to bring it back to talk. We don't need help on the border. But, I built over 1,000 miles of wall. We have to talk about it. because we should be given credit for having taken this disaster where people were criminals were coming in from all over the world and pouring into our country. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. It was like an invasion, and we should be giving Maria credit for it. So I'm going to be talking about it, but I'm also going to be talking about we gave the voters the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cuts in history, the best economy in history. And now what we're doing is we took this path, we knocked the hell out of Iran, we stopped them from they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, regardless. By the way, I could leave tomorrow. They would never be able to have a nuclear weapon. For years, they would, because their country is devastated. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have an airplane. They're all gone. And the press doesn't write about it. The New York Times, you think, if you read the New York Times, this fake, horrible newspaper, you would think they're doing well in the war. They have nothing left. They're going to make a deal. We'll see what happens. We have to explain to the voters, so importantly, the great job that we've done, because there's no reason why the Republicans should be losing. These people, they'll open up the borders again. They'll have transgender for everybody. They'll have men and women sports. Mm-hmm. They'll end no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. They'll end it all. And if people hear that, I don't see how we lose the election.
Well, you better get into campaign mode. Now, it's still pretty early, and given this new information environment where everybody's siloed off in their little algorithm, folks aren't really paying attention, or they're paying attention to what they want to pay attention to. Anyway, we got to hit this break first. This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you out, especially if you've been thinking about it for a while. But don't, number one, let what the Fed's doing with interest rates stop you from getting in touch with Alabama Home Mortgage. Don't let housing inventory or what the national news decides to panic about this week. Control what you can control. You can control your own timing. You decide when it's right, the right time to buy, and when it makes sense to refinance. So it could be you're looking for money. Well, if you have a lot of equity built up to get debt off your back, or make that retirement fund last a little longer, or reinvest in your family, in your home, in your property, the great refinance deal with Alabama Home Mortgage can help you out. Or, of course, if you're looking to buy that home, if you're downsizing, or the family's growing, or you're going through a divorce, whatever you're having going on in your life, they can help you with your goals and getting the best possible deal on a home purchase. Don't fall victim to flashy mailers, spam calls, 1-800-LENDERS, and certainly don't waste your time with those online mortgage calculators. The pre-approval from Alabama Home Mortgage helps you shop with confidence instead of just kind of guessing. So y'all check them out today. That's Alabama Home Mortgage. You can always call them direct at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can apply online. They'll get right in touch with you after you fill out that online application at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies, and let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. And MLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
"2026 marks 60 years that hope has had a home in Alabama. At the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches, children who've lost everything through no fault of their own have found something priceless. A safe place to live, a loving Christian family, and the chance to simply be kids again. Here, boys and girls grow up surrounded by care, guidance, and faith, learning right from wrong, learning responsibility, learning they are valued and that their lives have purpose. As the Alabama Sheriffs have believed for 6 decades, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women. These former ranchers are now teachers, parents, business owners, and leaders, living proof that love, structure, and faith can change a life forever. As the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches celebrate 60 years of serving Alabama's children, you can help ensure the next child has the same chance. Learn how you can make a difference at alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. 60 years of building lives, and we're just getting started.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm Bill. You called about some breaker stripping?
Oh, my brother-in-law says you can do almost anything.
That's me. Not much I hadn't seen.
Do you really want someone who does almost anything in your electric box? Think about that, because each year thousands of home fires are caused by faulty wiring. That's why you want a professional, like the electricians at Crosby Electric.
Bill, how's it going? Bill, ooh, are you okay?
Yeah, well, I didn't really need my eyebrows anyway.
At Crosby Electric, all technicians undergo rigorous safety training, as well as background checks, drug testing, and continuing education.
Bill, you think maybe I should call a real electrician?
No, these little slip-ups happen. Everybody does it.
Really?
No, not really. When you need professional electric work, or you just like someone to assess your home for safety, call the experts at Crosby Electric, 272-2085, or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
Hunger doesn't always look the way you think, but it's closer than you realize. On Saturday, May 9th, join the Budget Bites battle at the Heart of Alabama Food Bank and turn awareness into action. Teams will go head-to-head, creating a full meal for $5 per person or less in just 60 minutes. Every $1 raise provides 5 meals for neighbors in need. Now we need you. Register your team today at hafb.org. Deadline is May 2nd. Be part of the solution. Cook with purpose. Fight hunger one meal at a time.
Trust is the number one reason why a patient chooses a healthcare provider. Adams Drugs has been your trusted healthcare provider since 1962 and has been voted the number one pharmacy in the River region for many years. We strive each and every day to provide you the level of health care you have come to expect from Adams Drugs. The employees at Adams Drugs take pride in developing relationships with their patients, from making sure your prescriptions are filled correctly to getting to know you and your family's needs and following up on any questions you may have. Adams Drugs employees deliver top-notch service. We ask you to visit us at any of our locations in Montgomery, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, and Pine Level Marbury and give us a chance to earn your business. You can find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
We get this question all the time.
Do you handle that?
Buying or selling a home?
Yes.
Commercial?
Yes.
Land or investments?
Absolutely. Hannah and Eddie Realty Group. One team.
Every real estate move. 334-322-0662.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by M&M Outdoors. Book your stay today at MNMCampground.com for relaxation at its best. It's easy to find and hard to leave. M&M Outdoors, your home away from home.
A long string of very warm, storm-free May-like days in April rolls on. Today's high temperature once again in the upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll go down near 60 for a low tonight with mostly clear skies. Upper 80s again tomorrow, Thursday, with more sun. Near 90 on Friday would tie a record. And even Saturday's high near 90 would be record territory. There is a small risk of scattered showers and storms in the overnight hour Saturday night into early Sunday. Otherwise, storm-free and dry. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Let's go back to the phones and talk to Babs. We have Barbara on the phone. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing very good. Been listening to the show, like I said. First thing I want to say is they, whoever they may be, knew about Swalwell a long, long time ago.
Yes,
they
ma'am.
know all that kind of stuff is going on with these people, and I just wonder why they wanted him out of the race.
I think he was upsetting probably some other plans at play there in California. I'd imagine some big money had gotten behind a particular candidate or two, and he was going to act like he was a big, independent, grown-up boy, a real boy, and, they brought out the goods against him.
They did a good job, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, and, the political operatives are pretty good at that.
It's really sad what it's come down to. And the other thing I was going to ask you, do you listen to Scott in the morning?
A little bit.
Did you hear him talking about what Virginia voted to do?
The redistricting thing?
Well, not just redistricting. It's something to do with the electoral vote. And they're not going to accept the electoral votes. It's just going to be the most votes. I really didn't get a chance to listen to as much as I want to, but it might be something you might want to look up.
Yeah,
I'll look up when I get home.
I didn't get a chance to hear that part of his show.
And what about the fact that, there's 18 or 19 states that are going to try to get Trump out of office? I hear bits and pieces because I'm trying to get ready to go or do something, and I just hear bits and pieces.
Oh, okay. So I've got a report here. It's a national effort to circumvent the Electoral College. Virginia the governor there signed a bill that adds the state to the National Popular Vote Compact, an agreement among states to award their presidential electoral votes to the nationwide popular vote winner. That's crazy. Okay.
It is. Don't they have to have a constitutional amendment to do such? I guess. I don't know. I just know everything is so crazy. I think I'm about ready to stop listening to the radio. And by the way, I wish Dr. Tankersley would come back on your show again. I'm so afraid. I'm voting for him, and I really would like more people to get to know about him. But
of course, he's always welcome here.
Yes, sir. It is amazing to me how many people really don't know about these politicians. And when I try to explain or try to tell them to listen to you or Scott, or Greg in the afternoon, they act like they're not even interested. So
what are they interested in? Like your friends that you talk to, what are they talking about? What are they listening to?
They're too busy with life, I guess. And it's kind of, I was that way when I was younger, raising the boys. I worked full time and had 2 kids, and I didn't really have time to get into it, but I lucked up and started listening to this radio station with Dan. So
right, yeah, and I guess when people get free time, if they're full of life, like you watch a TV show or read a book, and there goes your hours.
Yeah, well, you can tell what I do. I listen as much as I possibly can, but like I said, that's why we're in the shape we're in, isn't it?
Well, even if you didn't, I'd still love you all the same, and love you back.
Well, I love you. I've been listening to you since you were with Dan, so you know how long that's been.
Oh, you've heard me through my ups and downs.
Yeah, you were just a kid back then. So.
Indeed.
But I do appreciate everything that you do, and I love it when Troy comes in. He and I think a lot alike. So.
Oh yeah, he'll be back Friday, I believe.
Good. Thank you, Joey. I enjoy the show, like I said, and love you. And you're in my prayers. You're doing a great job.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Bye.
Thanks. 272-9228. And to her point about the whole they thing, here's Stephen Miller is always great for TV.
While we have you here, has the president said anything about Swalwell? I don't know if he said anything. Has he been following that?
Why, has he had a bad week, Jesse? I haven't been watching.
You might be busy
has anything gone
with bigger matters of war and peace.
Couldn't have happened to a better person. But look, here's the most important thing if we have 10 seconds on this, and I'm sure you would agree with this. The most important part about this story, and look, Swalwell is a scumbag. He is a terrible person, the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low, the most dishonest of the most dishonest. But the real story here is how the Democrat Party controls its members through blackmail. It's got a blackmail file on all of its politicians, and it uses them to leverage and control them until it's time to release it. That is how sick and twisted the Democrat Party is. That's the next thread we've got to pull out here, Jesse.
All right, it's a dangerous business.
Because, of course, the Republican Party doesn't have those sorts of people working for them. Yeah, I think it's a pretty bipartisan affair, the whole blackmail thing. Anyway, he's always good for TV, folks. He pulls off the bald thing, I must say. I miss getting emails from him back when I was a whippersnapper and he was working comms for Senator Jeff Sessions. It's funny the people you meet and where they're going. Yet here I am. Wouldn't trade it for anything. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
At Blue Water Broadcasting, we believe great advertising starts with relationships. That's why so many local business owners trust us, not just for radio, but for digital too. If you're already running digital advertising and you're not seeing results, it may be time to explore your options. Our team takes the time to understand your business, then builds custom campaigns using a multi-channel conversion-focused approach. So whether it's digital display, social media, or you need help increasing your online presence, Blue Water Broadcasting can help. Before your next campaign, let's have a conversation. Visit bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electric bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joey.
Good to hear. Now, let's tell folks about what's been going on there at Cohen's today, the Cohen's Experience.
The Cohen's Experience. Well, the Cohen's Experience, we've got our delivery crew has been on a mission. They've upped their game when they deliver their appliances or your appliances. And anyway, they've been getting a ton of 5-star reviews from our customers. Some of the customers are even taking pictures with them and the appliance that they've just installed. And, of course, you know, I had a customer in here the other night that asked, you know, what do we do with the old stuff? And I was like, you know, we'll put it on your patio, put it on your carport, we'll haul it off. You tell us, and, you know, we don't charge anything extra for that. and so they're all excited. But anyway, the installers or delivery people have really upped their game, and I'm amazed at all the 5-star reviews that are coming in from our customers.
See, I'm not amazed, and I got that big old honking TV moved twice because I know how to move it the second time, and y'all did that, helped me out in that regard. But especially this applies to like a big old refrigerator. Like, what are you going to do with an old fridge or old washer dryer units to get the new one installed and the old one taken away? Like, I'm not surprised you're getting 5-star.
Yeah, well, and a lot of our customers, or not our competitors, actually charge to haul off your dunnage. So, you get a new washer and dryer, and if they charge you $20 a piece, that's an extra $40 to haul off your old washer and dryer. And, it all adds up.
Well, folks, if you're just kind of doing the spring cleaning thing, spring inventory, and especially if, after you wash your clothes, things are a little like moldy, musty. It's like, I don't know if that thing's even working. It makes noises, but I don't know if it's working, honey. Like, get by Cohen's. They have great selection there, especially on the appliance side. And maybe you'll buy a new TV at the same time. Why not? Once you see some of the new TVs. You can, of course, if you already know what you want, call them up at 277-8890 or shop online at thinkcohens.com. But I encourage you to stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery, open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael. Be sure to tell him you heard him here on this radio show with that Joey Clark fella. And you said there was an Eddie Bader sighting today?
There was an Eddie Bader sighting. He was not on the radio, but he was in looking at a dishwasher.
What's better, him on the radio or him in person?
I kind of like him better on the radio. He's good either way.
No correct answer. That was the correct answer.
He's got a face for radio.
Well, good thing we live streamed this thing. Well, I appreciate it, Michael, as always. And folks, you'll get by Cohen's. Thanks, man.
Thank y'all. Take care.
Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances, a true institution here in Montgomery, and generations of customers, generations in the family of ownership there, and they've lasted for good reason. Great products, but service second to none. And 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. What do we want to go with? Well, how about something that, well, I don't know how uplifting this is, but of course for America's big birthday bash, there's going to be a UFC event on the White House lawn. And of course, the naysayers and the professional critics, they're all like, well, who's paying for this? Who is paying for this? It's like, we'll figure it out. Calm down. And Trump's hosting Bloodsport and making taxpayers pay for it. Bloodsport, I don't know. They've cleaned up their act since the early days of UFC. Anyway, here is Dana White. I think that's Pat McAfee's show. Let's listen in to Dana. Made this news in the last few hours, last day.
We're paying the entire bill on all of this. Everything that you see, not $1 of taxpayer money will go into this.
By the way, Stephen Miller, also Dana White pulls off the completely bald look, but I wonder how much money they have to spend on like shaving cream or gel or whatever they use to shave their heads, but he pulls it off.
And this is the UFC's gift to the 250th birthday of America. And I think one of the myths that I would like to crush is, I don't care if you're far right, far left, right down the middle, wherever you sit politically, because everybody sits somewhere politically these days. This isn't about politics. This is about the United States. What this country is about, how it was built, where we all came from. If you love America, you're going to love this event. It has nothing to do with politics. We just happen to be in the White House lawn, and the President of the United States will be there.
Yeah. Actually, I think it should be a pretty epic showdown. And, all sorts of things planned. But in this day and age, it's very rare. Like, did Americans come together, I guess, for the Artemis II mission? Like, what actually reaches almost every American? I had dinner with a buddy, like grew up with him, grade school, high school. We were roommates here in our 20s and 30s for a little while. And when I was living, we were living that life, having roommates. We're both doing well in life at this point, but he said he went down the rabbit hole of 90s TV commercials. Some reason YouTube started curating the nostalgia algorithm. And he said all sorts of stuff started to click. I mean, of course, just old memories of old products and shows you used to watch. But one thing that really struck him is how we really did used to have the same screen we were all looking at. There was a common public square. And though you have very popular people that are able to break through into different segments of society and have quite the following, you don't quite have what you used to have. In a way, that's liberated us. But in another way, it seems like we've lost something. Like, what's better? Being able to at least sing from the same hymnal book, or actually being free to sing from whatever hymn book you want? Because even if you're singing from the same book, you're watching the same movie, is it completely true? Could there be better hymns out there? There be a better accounting of the truth and what's good and beautiful in this world if you had more options? Perhaps. But when you give those options, do people then move to things that just ain't true, things that are just bad and ugly? Yeah. Something has been lost in that regard, and maybe the project ahead for the next generation is Trump is, I think, like the big last hurrah of the boomer, and I love that the liberal boomers get to watch it. But for the next generation, it is essentially rebuilding that infrastructure, rebuilding that common public square. Could we screw it up? Oh, yeah. But, yeah, have some hope, you dopes. We'll be right back. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Pakistan's army chief has arrived for talks in Tehran in the latest diplomatic move to ease tensions in the region and arrange a second round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. That's according to the Pakistani military. It said the delegation includes country's interior minister and other senior security officials. The U.S. Navy is imposing a sea blockade against Iran, the latest escalation in the war that has seen the flow of key energy supplies choked off at the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy says a blockade that started on Monday has been fully implemented and that U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going in and out of Iran by sea. April 25th makes it Tax Day 2026. Economist Steve Moore says if your refund is bigger than you expected this year, you can thank President Trump and Republicans for the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This is SRN News.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For tough, good-looking roofs, it's Tamco Shingles from Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For great folks and great prices, call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Our long string of very warm, storm-free May-like days in April rolls on. Today's high temperature once again in the upper 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll go down near 60 for a low tonight with mostly clear skies. Upper 80s again tomorrow, Thursday, with more sun. Near 90 on Friday would tie a record. And even Saturday's high near 90 would be record territory. There is a small risk of scattered showers and storms in the overnight hours Saturday night into early Sunday. Otherwise, storm-free and dry. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank, serving families and communities since 1906. Proud to be named 16th best performing bank nationally in their asset category by American Banker. Learn more at cbsbank.com. CB&S Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
1819 News.
The Republican candidate in the Alabama Secretary of State race, Caroline Dobson, says she fully supports the idea of closing primary elections to only those registered party members for Republicans and Democrats. Dobson spoke about the issue on FM Talk 106.5 out of Mobile.
Well, there is no question that we have a huge problem with Democrats, depending on where you are in the state, in certain pockets of this state with Democrats voting in Republican primaries and trying to manipulate the options that Republicans have available in the primaries. And truly that becomes kind of disenfranchisement of Republican voters. And I feel that we'll see some probably new and improved legislation next legislative session.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Brian Dawson here, CEO of 1819 News. I'm also the host of 1819 News, the podcast, and we'd love for you to join us by listening to our weekly show on all the top podcast apps, both in audio and video format. At 1819 News, the podcast, we are in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama. Every week, we're having important conversations with guests from across this great state, all with the goal of equipping Alabamians to be in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama with us. New episodes are released weekly. I hope you'll join us.
A Blount County man is under arrest following the overdose of a 2-year-old child. Joshua Robbins had several children at his home who were unsupervised when the 2-year-old got a hold of THC gummies. 2-year-old had to be rushed to a hospital due to loss of consciousness. Robbins was found to have left marijuana and drug paraphernalia around the house as well. He's facing chemical endangerment charges. An officer-involved shooting in Huntsville has put a murder suspect in the hospital. Police responded to a report of a shooting on Tuesday and found 19-year-old Kiriana Harris dead from gunshot wounds. The suspect was tracked down to his car on University Drive. When police tried to remove him from that vehicle, that's when the shootout occurred. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Alabama weather will never fail to surprise you. Our lawns hardly get a chance to have any downtime. This year, save the hard work and aggravation and call Alabama Lawns, the River Region's leader in weed control and fertilization services. What makes Alabama Lawns the River Region's best? It's the people. They have the experience, education, and commitment to customer satisfaction. Ask your neighbors. Alabama Lawns has been the Montgomery Advertiser's Reader's Choice Award winner 14 years in a row. The Alabama Lawn staff is made up of long-term employees and agronomy graduates, and the staff at Alabama Lawns attend annual continuing education classes. It pays to have someone that knows southern grass types and how to keep them green and flourishing. Call Alabama Lawns today at 272-7171 and let them show you real value in lawn maintenance service. Alabama Lawns, the company with black trucks and green lawns.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the final hour of the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And we already got a call that's rolling in. 334-272-9228. Let's go to Wetumpka Jeff. Hey, Wetumpka Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, okay, the first question is, if I installed this app on my mom's phone in Lynette, Alabama, would they pick y'all up?
Which app?
The y'all's radio app.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. All right, the second question is this. She was watching America's Voice today, and they are giving the pension to Swalwell and and Gonzalez, they're resigning, and it's tax-paid pension. Why, if they committed misconduct and they're having to resign, why should the taxpayers have to pay for their retirement?
It's a great question, because I think the practical answer is all the other members up there of dirty stuff because they're dirty dogs don't want to lose their pensions when it's their time to be thrown overboard. That's my take.
Oh,
it's wrong though. I mean, it's to be expected by these folks. It's crazy. Like, especially say in the private sector, you are fired and it's all like, I don't know. This idea that they earned their benefits is just absurd to me.
Yeah, I agree. They should have to live on the same amount of money we have to live on.
Yeah, and especially when you're fired for moral cause. Like, you have moral clauses in your contracts often, and often you end up forfeiting a lot of things. It's one thing to downsize or whatever. Life happens. You get fired or you lose a gig. But when people find out you're a piece of crap, that you've been like really, really bad, yeah, it's just not surprising that Congress, even on the way out, rewards the worst of the worst.
Well, if you can get Katie Britt to call back in, ask her that question.
I'd be happy to.
I know she's a firebrand, and she might be able to stir something up there.
Yeah, it's been a while since she's been on. I'll have to reach out. I keep forgetting. I keep procrastinating about it, but whatever.
Yeah. Maybe she can stir the pot.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see. That would be certainly her leading that effort would be quite fun to see. You're seeing it in the House. It'd be nice to see, especially some of the women in the Senate lead on this.
Yeah, and I would like to see a bunch of people call into the radio station and voice their opinion about this, because it ain't right.
It isn't right, but
we shouldn't have to pay for. I mean, where you at, Soldier Boy? Call in.
Appreciate you. We'll talk, good Jeff.
All right, thanks. Y'all have a good one.
You too. 272-9228. Again, 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on that conversation. Want to respond to what Tumpka Jeff was just laying out. Now, here is, I believe it's the first big forum after the successful Artemis 2 mission. And I was sitting there at the end of last hour thinking, well, maybe the moon rocket and the space race and electronic propulsion engines that are now coming out. Maybe this sort of, space exploration will bring people together. But then, there's a lot of the population thinks it's all fake. So, guess another miss there. But here is the NASA Administrator, Jarek Isaacman, talking about what, now that this Artemis 2 mission was a success, what it will lead to with the future of the space program. Let's check out what Jared is saying.
Order American superiority in space. I don't know how we can achieve superiority if we come in second place. So I will tell you that I don't think we were on a path to achieve our goals until recently. The incredible Artemis 2 mission that we all witnessed launch. Extremely complicated vehicle, right? I mean, you have at least five prime contractors, hundreds of subcontractors that go into it. Very complicated, 8.8 million pounds of thrust to accelerate those astronauts in a position to go around the moon, set the amazing record that they did. You can't launch that rocket every 3.5 years. So last time it flew uncrewed November 2022. Obviously, we just flew it again rather recently, and up until recently, we wouldn't fly it again until the end of 2028, and that's not a recipe for success. So we obviously launched this mission. We gathered a ton of great data. The ECLA systems, the life support systems on the vehicle, was the first time that we've ever tested that. Obviously, the first time you've even had human beings on top of this rocket or in the spacecraft. Gathered lots of good data, but we're rolling that into another mission, and that's the big change here. We need to get into a good cadence of this. We need to establish muscle memory. We'll launch again, Artemis 3 in 2027, start to buy down risk by rendezvousing the Orion spacecraft with one or both lunar landers, and I'm gaining confidence by the day that it'll be both, and test out the interoperability of the vehicles, again, gather good data, roll that into Artemis 4, so we have an achievable path to the surface of the moon by 2028. And then the executive order didn't say to go back and do the boot prints and the rocks again, but go back to stay and realize the scientific and economic and even national security potential of being on the surface. And I emphasize being on the surface, not orbiting above it, right? So we pivoted and said we want to be on the moon. We want to have a moon base. That was directly called out in the president's national space policy, and we're already taking steps, as I mentioned in my remarks, towards achieving it. So, and I think people are going to be able to follow along. Early 2027, we're going to start our first robotic landings to it. So, and then I'd say the last component in it, which Director Kratsios pointed out this morning with the clarity of nuclear power and propulsion policy in space is essential, because we want to ensure superiority even beyond the moon when we get to Mars someday. And I will say the technology will be available to us in the not too distant future. Almost assuredly, when you see astronauts set foot on the moon again, American astronauts on the moon again, you'll know you'll have the ability to send mass and probably the habitability capabilities to get the astronauts to Mars. How do we bring them back safely to tell us about that extraordinary vision or that extraordinary journey? And you're going to need nuclear power and propulsion to be able to do that. And what a better proving ground than on the surface of the moon to test it all out. So I think we're taking Artemis 2, great opening act in America's return to the moon, and we're taking a lot of positive steps towards achieving the president's vision.
So I think some of the more intrepid, visionary aspects that the human being can summon being talked about there by the NASA Administrator, Jerry Eisenman. And so from that to this, Powerball, the lotto, it's to expand to the United Kingdom as the jackpot game goes global. The lottery game that has made millionaires in the U.S. will expand this summer to include players in England, Scotland, and other parts of the U.K. An agreement was announced Tuesday between a multi-state lottery association, which runs the lottery game, and Allwyn UK, which operates the UK's national lottery. The deal still must be approved by a UK gambling commission to actually go through, but it will mark the first time a lottery outside the U.S. will contribute to the Powerball jackpot. We're constantly looking for ways to make sure that we're keeping Powerball culturally and commercially relevant, said Matt Strawn, who heads Powerball as the chief executive of the Iowa Lottery. And this really is the next natural progression in doing just that. The same jackpot amount will be available to players on both sides of the Atlantic, with U.S. payouts in dollars and those in the U.K. in pounds. For players in the U.S., nothing changes, including the $2 cost of the Powerball ticket and the long odds of winning the jackpot of 1 in 292.2 million. But with UK players buying tickets, a larger player pool will grow jackpots more quickly. We're going to probably see a $2 billion one for too long. Players consistently tell us in survey after survey that faster growing Powerball jackpots is what they'd like to see. Not surprisingly, the higher the jackpots grow, the more people play the game in a particular drawing. The more people play the game, the higher sales grow. The higher sales grow, the higher the jackpots get. The more people play, so on and so forth. For UK players, Powerball will offer a chance at much larger jackpots than are now available at lotteries in the country and across Europe. The largest Powerball payout was just over $2 billion from a ticket bought in 2022 in California. So we already hit the $2 billion mark. How about $3 billion? Euro Millions, a lottery offered across 9 European countries and also operated in the UK by Allwyn, paid the biggest prize to a UK player in US dollars, about $265 million. Our ambition is to bring more games, more innovation, and more excitement to the UK National Lottery. And it doesn't get more exciting than Powerball with its transformative jackpots and life-changing contributions to good causes. Yeah, but how many people's lives have been ruined after they win that thing? Like, I can't even imagine. If I won, like, the Powerball jackpot in my 20s, my God. Would have been straight to hell. Been a lot of fun, too, but it would end up in the fiery pit for all eternity. Anyway, all players will vie for the same jackpot now. In the UK, across Europe, so it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So which one excites you more? Setting up a moon base or winning the multi-billion-dollar jackpot? I have a sense what some people might say. Again, 334-272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. So there's a guy by the name of Stephen Klubeck. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need the Powerball. And for the longest time, Stephen Klubeck was a former donor to Eric Swalwell. Well, he says he's changing teams after this. Wait, but I think the problem is who's going to take you seriously? Well, you have billions of dollars, so that doesn't really even matter. Come on in, the water's fine, multi-billionaire. Listen to this fellow. Like, all of a sudden, he realizes Eric Swalwell is not a good guy.
First say you're mad. I mean,
mad?
Yeah.
I am no longer a Democrat.
Oh.
I'm now a libertarian Republican. Because that's what a blue dog Democrat used to be.
No, that wasn't what it used to be. No, most of the time the moderates are big warfare and welfare state. But that's my favorite, is like when Democrats come over, they can't just say I'm a Republican now. You got to add the qualifier. Like it could be a ideological one, like Libertarian Republican. It could be, remember the log cabin Republicans? Yeah, I remember that. But here, let's hear this guy out.
First say you're mad. I mean,
mad?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am no longer a Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm now a libertarian Republican. Because that's what a blue dog Democrat used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's called executing, being accountable, enforcing, respect, responsibility, and results.
Yeah.
Knowing what your job description is. Delivering results. Unifying.
Yeah.
Making this country great. The great brand we have, okay?
I don't know, this conversion here seems a bit defensive. When you were essentially Swalwell's sugar daddy, all of a sudden you're like, I'm switching parties and I want accountability and responsibility and I want to get things done with competency. It's like, yeah. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if I'm buying it, but yeah, come on over. Go vote for Steve Hilton or something. And I'm sure California is really going to be saved. Now, California's problem is not their politics. I know that sounds crazy, because their politics is a problem. Even for a lot of people that consider themselves Democrats, their politics is nuts. But when you look at California, it's a problem of the soul out there, baby. And of course, California is a very big place with all sorts of different types of communities. Of course, I'm thinking of more your metropolitan areas. There's a lot of farmland. There are a lot of conservative people, live conservative lifestyles out there in California. It's God's country in many ways. It should be this beautiful place. It should be the city of angels. And yet, in particular, that city, you look at what comes out of there, culturally, the art that comes out of there. What do they even produce at this point? Sure, there are some things. And though it's always couched in a good time, right? Always enjoying life. You're not as uptight as those folks from Oklahoma and Alabama and all these Bible thumpers or whatever. And it's like, I think the Alabama folks got something figured out. As you continue to see the rot of the revolutions of a few decades ago. How's it working out? I don't know. I hope Steve Hilton wins. It'd be cool to see a Republican back on top there in California, but even a little bit of common sense at your executive level, I don't think is going to fix that state. That is a matter of the heart and a matter of the soul out there in California. And when you look at the promise of that place from the 50s and 60s, and like the vision of the future they had in mind, and you look at where it's gone in many ways, disappointing, to say the least. Shows you what excess and luxury can do to you when you're too wealthy. What your kids end up doing. That said, let's hit a break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Bowen Road. You know, with over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
Do you suffer every time you try to wear good-looking shoes, but you don't want to wear ugly shoes just because they're comfortable? The Good Feet store wants to help you wear heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort.
We're located at 7341 East Chase Parkway, and the shop's at East Chase. Now hiring.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Accurate, immediate, carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Oh, this is a big headline. Going back to war, that's why I'm trying to soothe myself with the music, but Iran apparently used Chinese spy satellites, or a single satellite, to target U.S. military bases in the Middle East. Iran used a Chinese spy satellite it secretly bought in 2024 to target U.S. bases in the current war. The TEE-01B satellite, built and launched by Chinese company Earth Eye Co., was acquired by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' Aerospace Force in late 2024 after it was launched into space from China. Yep, China has those too. Not just the United States helping the Ukrainians out. Iranian military commanders directed the satellite to monitor major U.S. military sites, the newspaper said, and this is according to, again, the Financial Times, citing timestamp coordinate lists, satellite imagery, and orbital analysis. The images were taken in March before and after drone and missile strikes on those locations. As part of the deal, the IRGC received access to commercial ground stations operated by a Beijing-based provider of satellite control and data services, with a network extending across Asia, Latin America, and other regions, according to the report. The satellite captured images of Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia on March the 13th, 14th, and 15th, according to the Financial Times. According to the report, the satellite also monitored an airbase in Jordan and locations close to the U.S. Fifth Fleet Naval Base in Bahrain and the Erbil Airport in Iraq, around the time the IRGC claimed attacks on facilities in those areas. Reuters could not independently verify the report, but the White House, CIA, Pentagon, China's Foreign Affairs Ministry, and Defense Ministry, Earth Eye Co., and this other company did not immediately respond to request by Reuters for comment. But I don't think we should be surprised by this at all. This is just the nature of why the space race is so high stakes. And who do you want to dominate? Maybe you don't want anybody to dominate. You're an idealist still. Fair enough. But I'd much rather the United States dominate than, well, China continue to expand their power. And it shows just with a little bit of capability, the Iranians were able to kill some folks. Don't forget, Americans, as well as many others, have died in this conflict. Now, one thing that This is where, again, Trump's not going to change. It's just still so frustrating. FISA 702, the program that has been used to spy on Americans, was used to spy on Trump. Here's Trump about this earlier this morning. I am working very hard with our great speaker, Mike Johnson, along with Chairman Jim Jordan and Chairman Rick Crawford, to get a clean extension of FISA 702 through the House of Representatives this week. I am asking Republicans to unify and vote together on the test vote to bring a clean bill to the floor. We need to stick together when this bill comes before the House Rules Committee today to keep it clean. When the dirty cop James Comey, the failed head of the FBI, went after me, he was using FISA Title I, the domestic collection, not FISA 702, the foreign collection, which needs to be extended today. While parts of FISA were illegally and unfortunately used against me in the Democrats' disgraceful witch hunt and attack in the Russia hoax, and perhaps would be used against me in the future, I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military and country. Our military patriots desperately need FISA 702, and it is one of the reasons we have had such tremendous success on the battlefield. I've spoken with many in our military who say FISA is necessary in order to protect our troops overseas as well as our people here at home from the threat of foreign terror attacks. It has already prevented many such attacks, says the president, and it is very important that it remain in full force and effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So can they still spy on Americans or not? Because I think the average American doesn't care, and in fact encourages you to be able to spy on, say, foreign interests, in particular terror networks. But when through the back door, the government can use it to spy on Americans who are incidentally collected in that information. That's where we have the issue. And you go all the way back to April of 2024, 2 years ago, and Trump put out, kill FISA, it was illegally used against me, and many others, they spied on my campaign. What happened to that guy? Who was, I believe, running for president again in 2024. But, I guess general warrants are all the rage still, and most Americans shrug it off as more and more liberties are continuing to be consumed by our need for protecting ourselves, for maintaining the empire. And I guess you could learn to love the empire and just forget that we are a constitutional republic. Honestly, I think we're heading towards something like what happened with Rome, if we aren't already there and have crossed that Rubicon, so to speak. Now, you maybe have a lot of folks fishing in the Rubicon, where they dip their toe in the Rubicon, and they kind of act like a dictator, but a king. And they pull back a little bit. And Congress, of course, pushes that responsibility over to the president, because if the war's going to hell, they get to blame the president. And if the war's going great, they could be, well, look, we financed the money. They don't actually have to put their names down on whether or not they support something and can talk out of both sides of their mouths. But it is that commander-in-chief, that war-making power that has been expanded and includes intelligence services. And it's the war-making power, especially victorious presidents and victorious causes, where you continue to see this march towards, well, the U.S. government, no matter who you vote for, tends to do what they want. The elected president maybe can modulate here or there. Formally, the president's still in charge and still elected. But we're getting closer and closer to the day where we're essentially electing kings. We're electing emperors. Now, you might say that's not the worst thing in the world if they can actually get good things done. Well, perhaps. The problem is, after you have one good emperor, maybe you have a good second one. Maybe you have a good third one. Maybe you have 5 good emperors in a row. But then eventually somebody decides to make their son the king or their son the emperor. Like what? Marcus Aurelius does this with Commodus. And everything goes to crap. And he's just killing people like crazy, and just the blood sport and like the excess and And he's in charge of everything, so there goes your society. That's the problem. When you centralize this much authority, even in the name of getting good things done, and you get good things done, the trick is always succession. Now, you could very well have somebody that rises up, is very strong, and then they give power back to different institutions. And in fact, that has happened in our history. I mean, look at Lincoln, look at FDR. But I don't know, it just seems like this is the way we're going, especially because of the war-making power, especially because of the necessities of maintaining all the American interest around the globe. And perhaps Trump's showing a new model where you get in quick, you get out quick, you use all sorts of different methods, combinations of soft and hard power at the same time in order to see through your goals quickly. I mean, Venezuela is an example of that, of like, we don't really care who runs the country. It's not about creating some idyllic Jeffersonian democracy in Venezuela. We just want somebody that we can actually work with. And you're hearing and seeing the same thing with Iran, that this is not about spreading and our ideals with deep roots and seeds there. It's more about, act like a normal country. You can still be your own people and your own civilization. Just do the deal with us. It's become much more transactional. But yet we still have this thing called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And, when the Bill of Rights was being drafted in the House of Representatives, it was left to James Madison to articulate the values that would provide an insulation between government negating freedom and the inalienable rights of all people, all persons. The right to worship freely, freedom of speech, of the press, and basic fairness from the government were relatively easy to reduce to writing. Even the catch-all Ninth Amendment, which, how often has that actually been tested in the courts, which recognized the existence of natural human rights, drew broad support. Drafting occurred in a testy environment. The Federalists, the big government folks, controlled the Congress, the White House, and the courts. Over Madison's strenuous objections, his own party in Congress enacted the first Bank of the United States, a precursor to the current Federal Reserve. This so irritated and terrified the anti-Federalists, the small government folks at that time, that some state legislators began to make noises about leaving the federal government they had just created. It is interesting that to the founders of the country and to the framers of the Constitution, the idea of succession was neither novel nor controversial, and it was not then racial since it came from New England. To temper this talk of succession, the Congress turned to Madison, who, after the creation of the bank, had become an anti-federalist, joining the party of his friend and neighbor Thomas Jefferson. Madison's task was to craft a bill of restraints on the new federal government, focusing primarily on personal freedom. Madison shared the colonial hatred of British agents and soldiers rummaging through colonial belongings in private homes, looking for whatever the government sought. The authority for these intrusions consisted of general warrants that were issued by a secret court in London, a process which Madison condemned. General warrants permitted the bearer to search wherever he wished and seize whatever he found. In the new Constitution ratified in 1788, there was no affirmative authorization for general warrants, just as there was no affirmative authorization for a government bank. But there was also no prohibition. By crafting the Bill of Restraints as a Bill of Rights, and by recognizing the preexistence of these rights, Madison's Bill of Rights was quickly ratified. The most unique of these rights was the right to be left alone. In Madison's day, privacy could only be violated by government using force, intimidation, or deception. Today, of course, privacy is violated by government stealth, by federal agents hacking into computers or using software that gains them access without hacking. And they do this in violation of the Fourth Amendment, which prohibits general warrants by requiring judicial warrants for all surveillance, based on probable cause of crime, sworn to under oath, and specifically describing the places to be searched or the persons or things to be seized. After the Watergate fiasco, Congress enacted the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act in 1978, which established a secret court in Washington, not unlike the London court Madison condemned in the pre-revolutionary days. The FISA court issues secret warrants allowing spying on Americans and foreigners in the U.S. In 2008, Congress added Section 702 to FISA, permitting warrantless surveillance of foreign persons who communicate with Americans. The FISA court interpreted 702 to permit warrantless surveillance of Americans to whom foreign persons had spoken, out to the 6th degree, 6 hops. The whole 6 degrees of separation thing. Thus, if you call or email a hotel in Rome to book a room, you are subject to warrantless surveillance under 702. If you call your mom, she is subject. If she calls her sister, your aunt is subject to warrantless surveillance, and so forth to the 6th degree. Behold the monstrosity that FISA has wrought. Can the data gathered by this warrantless surveillance be used by the FBI for prosecution purposes as an end run around the Fourth Amendment? Congress says yes. That's the American heresy, as it directly defies the history, values, and plain meaning of the Fourth Amendment. FISA Section 702 expires at the end of this month. Justice Louis Brandeis gave us the most celebrated articulation of privacy in Supreme Court history in 1928. It was in a dissent, arguably the most famous dissent in Supreme Court history, which involved warrantless wiretapping, of which the Supreme Court then approved. 2 generations later, his dissent was embraced by the majority, and the court ruled that all planned surveillance constitute a search and thus require search warrants. But the court has never ruled on the constitutionality of 702 because of the secrecy that surrounds it. In an effort to placate libertarians and progressives in Congress who oppose the extension of 702, the feds recently offered an amendment to it. The wording of the amendment was secret. The offering was done in secret, and its rejection by the FISA court was in secret. What kind of democracy is this? We have a so-called democracy that rejects Brandeis' recognition that the Fourth Amendment was written to protect more than our persons, houses, papers, and effects. It was written to protect our beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and sensations from the government's insatiable appetite to know more about us than we know about it. And of course, the president can make distinctions, but it is surprising to see him now support a clean extension. It was actually FISA Title I, the domestic collection, not FISA 702, the foreign collection, which needs to be extended today, which James Comey used to spy on me. And even Trump says here, quoting the president, "I am willing to risk giving up my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military and country." I guess once you get on the inside, the world looks very different than when you're on the outside looking in at the federal government. And this is, to me, the latest heresy, the latest, trend. Americans like results. Americans like winning. Americans are very practical people. Even our principled stands in so much of, what our philosophy we're famous for is literally pragmatism. American pragmatism. American religion, especially in the South, the Protestant experience is not all about the deep philosophical doctrines in many ways. In many ways, I think they have something, the Americans, Protestants have something very right about that. That it isn't all about, the scholastic, how many angels on the head of a pen, all the logical rabbit holes and syllogisms you can pile up on top of each other. That when you're truly faced with the divine, words don't suffice. And it's that ineffable sense that because of what we just celebrated on Easter, that we can be a part of that. And yet, there's something that seems to be lost. It seems like even our pragmatism is leading us away from being truly pragmatic. It seems our belief in wanting to win and wanting results continues to chip away at what we then claim to believe in our hearts, in these rights given to us by that God. There's been a lot of talk. You heard J.D. Vance at the beginning of the show talk about how religious leaders and political leaders shouldn't necessarily shut up and always stay in their lane. That religious leaders, Catholic, Protestant, any other, they are human beings that are part of a body politic, that are part of a society. And how their faith informs their conscience, they should speak up boldly. And why this, that, or the other should be the case. And politicians shouldn't just couch everything in just pragmatic political language. In fact, they should also speak of faith and how the principles of their faith guide them. And yet in the United States, it seems like what we say is not what we do. The government we say we have is not, in fact, the government we have. And though there's always going to be a little disconnect in just it's human nature, you never live up to our ideals. It seems we are drifting more and more in what we practically do. And we are losing the civic faith as much as we still proclaim it. By the way, is civic faith informed by a deeper faith? And that's, well, what power will do to you. It'll make you think giving up these deeply held beliefs is just a matter of practical necessity. It's a dangerous road to go down, but we continue to walk that tightrope. Now, can all this be solved in a day? Can you turn this ship around in a day and go back to this libertarian, natural law perspective of the Constitution that we so proclaim, especially in the Bill of Rights? No. It doesn't happen in a day. And it won't happen in a year or 4 years or even 6 years, 8 years. But if you do start planting the seeds and practically keep your wits about you, yes, we need to win. Yes, we need results. But we can't win and get results at the loss of something deeper. Or we're going to lose our inheritance. We're going to lose our legacy. It didn't just start 250 years ago, but stretches back millennia. Not saying it will be lost, but got to have hope. And by faith, we'll be able to continue to do that and maintain that legacy. But right now, there is a disconnect. And you got to wonder, at what point will something have to give, and will we have to reckon with what we say and then what we do don't always match up in big ways and small ways. We'll be right back after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
You can't control interest rates. You can't control housing inventory. And you definitely can't control what the national news decides to panic about this week. But here's what you can control. You control your timing. You decide when it's the right time to buy, when it makes sense to refinance, and when to tap into your equity to renovate, invest, or consolidate debt and free up monthly cash flow. Real estate decisions aren't one size fits all, and they shouldn't be driven by headlines or social media noise. They should be based on your goals, your finances, and your life. The smartest moves happen when you focus on what you can control and work with someone who helps you see the full picture. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Truckers, listen up. A $2,500 sign-on bonus only at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Work for a company that puts God and family first. Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, work for the best in the business.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. This warm string of days continues. Still dry, still storm-free, and even the nights are milder, with the overnight low temperature tonight down to about 60, clear to partly cloudy. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, upper 80s again for a high. If we get to 90 on Friday, that would tie the record. And I'm looking for near 90 again on Saturday. That's also record territory. There could be some widely scattered showers and storms late Saturday night in the overnight hours into Sunday morning, but the chances look relatively small. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Feeling the pressure of high credit card rates? ASC Credit Union has you covered with a low 1.99% APR on balance transfers. Move your balances in March or April and lock in that 1.99% rate through your October statement. Visit ASC Credit Union today. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Well, I can't help myself. We go from that last segment to this. Penis protester supporters show up ahead of Fairhope trial. And dozens of protesters showed up today on Hump Day ahead of the municipal court trial of Gianna Renee Gamble. Gamble is charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, violation of the municipal code, and giving officers a false name after she was arrested last October during an indivisible No Kings protest. Gamble, wearing an inflatable penis costume and holding a sign saying "No Dictator," was asked by police to remove the costume or leave. Police said they received complaints from passerby. She refused to remove the costume and was taken into custody. During the arrest, Gamble was seen on body-worn camera footage telling officers her name was Antifa. Or Antifa. Antifa. That's my name, Antifa. However, Gamble's attorney, David Gespass, said the First Amendment protected Gamble's costume and her actions. Indeed, perhaps that's what James Madison was thinking when he helped write the First Amendment. That one can wear a erect penis costume in public and protest against dictators. But the lawyer said that the officer had no right to order his client to leave the area. When Gespass arrived for the trial on Wednesday, he told 1819 News the case depends on if the judge sides with the Constitution. A crowd of around 40 people showed up in support of Gamble. Some were wearing tacos. Some were wearing eggplant outfits. Like the eggplant emoji. Yeah, we have such a depraved society. The fact that we all know what that means at this point. And, oh no, that lady doesn't even have a costume. She's just got the arm flap thing going on. Poor woman. Hate it when that happens. You know what I'm talking about, where it's just like you could fly off. But yeah, pretty good little presence there, and just wanted to give you that latest update. Apparently, Eric Thomas of 1819 News. Hopefully, Erica will join us. She'll be able to join us tomorrow to flesh out this court case and ongoing, continuing saga of the penis protester and the First Amendment. This part of the program, aptly brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. Hey, man, you got a problem with what we were just talking about? In particular, confidence in the bedroom? Or maybe it's more generalized. It's not just about that. Could be you're lacking confidence in that job you've been working in for decades, and all of a sudden you're second-guessing yourself every other day. You're falling asleep right after lunch. You wake up in the morning and you're exhausted. Kaput. You're like, what is going on with me? And you're getting fatter. You're losing muscle mass. Like you just don't feel yourself. Like everything just ain't working. And well, it could be low testosterone. Could be you need some help with weight loss. Could be you got ED issues. You know what I'm talking about. It's not fun to be dysfunctional. Could be you just need to up your peptide game. Well, they now offer all this there at Montgomery Men's Health. They can help you with ED. They can help you with generalized testosterone, low T problems. They can help you with getting peptides, whether it's NAD plus or Samorelin. That's Montgomery Men's Health, powered by Men's Pro. They've been serving Montgomery and the surrounding areas for several years now. And, you know, there are a lot of guys, I think it's like 92% of guys have said, I wish I had gone by earlier. Because us men, we procrastinate, but gentlemen, don't wait. Don't wait any longer, at least. You're not the only one going through this. And you can feel decades younger. You can feel like you used to, or you could actually, if you're in your 20s and you feel like crap, you can actually feel like a young man. A man. So check out Montgomery Men's Health today. Make an appointment today. You won't regret it. 440-3663. That's 440-3663. And I believe blood work and a consultation, lab work and consultation is only $99 first time. And you can always book online in under 30 seconds at MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. That's Montgomery Men's Health for every man and every season of life.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector.
That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig?
No, but it looks like you do.
And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich?
What's that?
I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man.
You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist?
That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE.
You know, I've heard a lot of good things about David Ernest.
You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience.
Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold.
That's right, man.
And I can see that you don't have very much experience.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich.
Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first.
You think he's got a shovel?
Never know till you ask.
I dig, man.
Starting a business shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Janney from Gulf Coast, we give you a clear, proven path to ownership. You receive guaranteed initial accounts, local support, and the training you need to succeed from day one. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn steady careers into thriving businesses, and you could be next. Start your journey today at JanneyKingCleans.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final moments here of the program. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Kind of digging this dramatic intro for you, Ray. How you
I
doing
like
today?
this music.
Yeah, made it
This
this
is
morning.
nice.
It's crazy
Not
what you can
everybody-
do with the AI. I literally hummed that. I just had that melody in my head, those movements, hummed it into my phone, told it to do horns, swelling horns and strings, and it came out with that. It's crazy.
That's what. Hey, you know the whole AI thing when it first came out, right? I'm way behind the curve on everything electronics, but Ron, my twin brother, is not. He's all about it. And, you know, he's up in Alaska and works for an oil company up there, and he told them, "Hey, I think we need to get some drones to fly the pipelines instead of us driving them."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, do you mind looking into it?" So he goes back to his car, types in, "What's the best drones for flying pipelines?" And it gives him the whole report, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is the most intelligent thing I've ever read." So he sat on it for like 3 days because he knew if he ran back in there with it immediately, something was up. So he came back in about 3 days later. He said, "Hey, I've done some research and here's the report I made for you." And we're like, "Wow, this is the most intelligent report I've ever read. This is crazy." Now they're talking about making over their whole drone thing for the entire company over the country.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. And
All because he types in AI.
and I'm sure the drones are powered by AI too in some way. That's just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And then he figured out, don't use the one made in China, use the one made in America because it can't get hacked.
Well,
And, all this stuff. Yeah, it was really cool. I'm like, yes, you go, Ron.
yeah, I mean, actually
I
saving
hope
them
you
a bunch of money and time, and like, I just went into my phone, da 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 da, da, like, but anyway, it's crazy what it could be used for.
But hey, if you come into private carpet, we're old school.
Yeah.
No AI in here. Now, you might take a picture on your phone and like do the phone thing where you see what it looks like, the carpet looks like in your room or the wood. But it's all down to earth. You're dealing with the same guys all the way through the job. And next thing you know, you got a great floor down. It all starts with the phone call, 285-8117.
Again, that number is 285-8117. They come out, do that free in-home measurement, get the product down that you pick out. It really is that simple. And when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark guy.
Hey, y'all have a great day.
Appreciate you, Ray. So what did we learn today? Well, I learned that I think the front runner is still J.D. Vance. And by the way, I didn't get to it, but he says he's in the process of opening an investigation into the Pizzagate conspiracy theory after he read strange words involving pizza and grape soda in the Epstein files. Saying, I remember it sounding like the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. We should absolutely investigate. Yeah. I think the Epstein thing, what do exorcists call it? Revealing the method. Or even knew that term. I described it as somebody like opening up the kimono and be like, what are you going to do about it? I think a lot of that Epstein stuff is downright demonic, and it is being revealed in such a way as to actually empower the folks that are doing this. Essentially showing off by revealing their means and methods. Oh, well. But, maybe it could be investigated. We could actually have some justice with some of these literal demons. That'd be nice. And, of course, we learned about the penis protester lady in court today, and we learned about the latest with the blockade and the war and how we're continuing to lose what we really claim are our birthright, American liberties, because of security demands. And, we've learned all sorts of stuff today. Powerball's going across the pond to the UK, so the jackpots are going to get bigger and bigger. Artemis 2's really set us up to win the space race. There's all sorts of stuff. But hopefully we'll learn more tomorrow. Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Budell. They're next.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
For a news line by New in Washington. As a